Good evening, and good evening. This is The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve. GovsRadio.com. We have a very different Pete in the studio tonight. But before we get to that, we want to thank everybody for joining us. We're back in studio, Steven. Oh, well, I got to put you up. There you go.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. That was my bad.
We're back
in the studio. We had a great time over at Dubco doing a live brew day, a collab with Barrage and Dubco. You guys working on that beer. It's coming along. We'll get to that a little bit. And before we get to our show tonight, a couple of things. Number one, we are live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Tonight, I'll jump over to the Instagram as well and do some live from that. We are also going to be in podcast form probably tomorrow or Wednesday. As everyone knows, that show is available on the Hopped Up Network, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio Network. All you have to do is ask Alexa, play
the fuck. No, don't say fuck.
She won't like that.
The Wort.
Yeah. Play The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, and all of a sudden, Alexa magically answers you. You can do it on your phone, too, and ask Siri.
That's right.
Yeah,
that bitch will answer you, too.
She'll do it, too, Dad. All the ladies come calling when The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve are on. And all of a sudden, you hear our lovely voices on your portable devices. So tonight, we are joined by our guest from Twin Fork. Pete is here, but before we get to him, we have to get to our sponsors. Steven's going to kick it off with Rosie's Drafts. You know what I noticed before you go? Before you just go into your spiel?
Sure.
Really quick.
Yeah.
I totally went with Beer Maker. I went with Beer Maker at Dubco. And I don't know why I did that. Usually we just kick it off right away with you with Rosie's Draft Solutions, and I don't know why I did that.
And
no offense to Nick or anything. He was part of the reads, but it was a new year. I was just trying. I guess he got thrown off when we were in a different environment than the studio.
And we were in the brewery.
Yeah, we were in the brewery, and I was already starting to drink and everything, so it happened. So, all right, kick it off with Rosie's Draft Solutions.
Rosie's Draft Solutions is a Long Island family-owned business that provides professional draft beer system services, line cleanings and maintenance, draft beer line system installs, event dispensing solutions, and more. They are passionate about craft beer and making sure it has the same quality as when it left the brewery. It's only done by making sure the draft system beer lines are perfectly clean.
Clean and tight.
Rosie services bars, restaurants, halls, events, and all other beverage establishments, including home kegerator installs across Long Island and Westchester. You can reach them at rosiesdraftsolutions@gmail.com or call them at 631-219-2075 Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mention The Wort. Get a little discount. I think now they're doing Brazilian waxes.
That's beautiful.
You get a Brazilian wax
all-in-one
also.
service.
Yes, it's
I need my I need the backside cleaned up for the summer season.
Well,
so
it's coming.
Oh God, I got to get ready for my mankini to hit the beaches.
Mankini.
Yeah, I got to get my hernia fixed, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my mankini wax. Yeah, I love it. Thanks to Nick and Rosie's Draft Solutions coming on. This is our 6th season of doing this show. Really appreciate Nick and Rosie's Draft Solutions for all their support throughout the years. Tonight we're also sponsored by Brewbag. Brewbag for your beer pong cornhole. Go to brewbag.com. Receive your beer pong cornhole. You could actually get it customized with a vinyl wrap right on front with your logo, the brewery's logo, your personal logo, whatever it is you want it to be. Remember, beer pong cornhole. That's right. So it's cornhole, but with 6 holes.
Can't wait.
And you play it like it's beer pong.
I miss it.
Key is that you have to have a beer in your hand. That's how we play. I don't play in any other way. You can't. So go to brewbag.com. You know what? Baseball's coming up. A lot of outdoor activities. Spring is going to be upon us before we know it. Go to brewbag.com, type in promo code THEWORT, and receive 10% off your brew bag today. Also sponsored by Beer Maker. Beer Maker. I'm actually going to start my double IPA in my Beer Maker. Yep, Beer Maker. It's the countertop all-grain brewing system, automated and connected through a phone app. You can follow along as you add your grains and dispense the wort into a nice giant 1-gallon bag, where then you can let it ferment and sit, add your hops, drop whatever other adjuncts you're looking to do, and in the end, you get a nice 1 gallon of beer that you could fill up like 10 to 12 bottles with. Go to beermaker.com and type in promo code THEWORT. You receive 10% off your Beer Maker machine today. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. We know the Lady Brewsters were really into getting that thing.
God, yeah.
I'm holding on. Like, Sheila still will steal it, even though she's not kind of connected as much anymore. She's going to, if she sees it, she's taking it. So I have to brew this beer before she gets her grimy little hands on it. So go to beermaker.com. And by the way, all of our sponsorship links are in our link tree of the bio of our Instagram. So click on that to find all these links directly to pages and type in the promo code. Last but not least, I reached out to Will today from Brewers Hardware. Brewers Hardware. For your large batch or small capacity needs, go to Brewers Hardware. Tri-clamps for days, Stephen.
All the tri-clamps.
How many tri-clamps did we see at Dubco?
There was a lot.
I mean...
Oh, the boys were...
Jimmy was...
They were whipping it around.
Yeah, it was like one of those, the Sharks versus the Jets and with the hair comb knife thing. It was crazy. When you're a brewer, you get really good with your tri-clamps. So go to brewershardware.com and type in promo code Wort to receive 10% off your order. And we really thank Will and the guys over at Brewers Hardware for sending us some stuff that we give back to our brewer guests. That's what it's all about. It's nice and cyclical. See, that was the word I was looking for at Dubco. And then I said something about hands, and I listened back to like the first 10 minutes of the show. I'm like, we really started awkward that day. But you know what? Great show to kick off 2023. And we got another banger tonight. And tonight we are joined by Pete from Twin Fork Beer Company. Twin Fork Beer Co. I always get mixed up because I say brewery or brewing company or beer and liquid, and
everybody's got their own little...
Yeah, and that's great. It really does help separate you, because if everyone wants a brewing company, you're like, okay, we get a brewing company. Like it, though. Twin Fork Beer Co. What's going on, Pete? How are you, sir?
Where are my tri-clamps?
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll tell Will. We'll say, hey, Will, let's get some tri-clamps.
My brewer always yells at me, we need more tri-clamps. We need more tri-clamps.
Gotta tell him to stop stealing them.
Yeah, he's taking them home.
He's whipping them around.
He's in the garden. He's like, I got these gnomes to shoot water out of the noses.
Tri-clamp on them.
Boom. Thanks a lot for driving out today. I know it's a bit of a ride out from the Riverhead area and maybe beyond, depending on where you live. But we've made it a goal of ours before we shut this show down after 6 years, 7 years, whatever it's going to be, that we make sure that we hit every brewery on Long Island. And as I mentioned in one of our posts... So
that means this is going to keep going on forever because they just keep popping up.
Well, believe it or not, we have Somerset coming on.
I know.
and we got to get them in. And we got, who's the other one that we discovered that was Freedom and Necromancer, right? They're just brand new breweries just popping up. Necromatic, that's right.
Necromatic.
Just crazy. You're right, a large amount. But you, sir, and Twin Fork has survived some big times. And I want to get right into it. I want to know, I mean, you have on your logo established in 2014. We're talking this right before the show. A very long run here. You're 8 years in. You've been around for a while. The brand is out there. People have seen it. I was mentioning to you that I've seen it at a restaurant I used to work at, and you had tastings, and you go to private places or beverage distributors, and you have people doing tastings. You've been around a while, and it's only recently where you finally have roots. So let's go back to 2014. How the hell did this all get started?
Believe it or not, it started a little before 2014. I was a home brewer.
Yeah.
And just sort of played around with brew recipes for 5 or 6 years, joined the homebrew clubs.
Don't mind me. I'm gonna my favorite, the Crescendo. That's one of my favorites. We'll share this.
Going to go through all of those. If you want to indulge
we're going to drink and we're going to go through all of them.
That's fine with me.
It's you and me tonight, buddy, because as you can see on my shirt, Steven is enjoying his dry January. And I am not dry. I am wet as fuck this January. Let me tell you.
I think next year I'm doing damp.
All right. Yeah. Just half pours. Get those 5 ounces going at the tasting rooms, and that's it. So sorry, you were saying. By the way, with home brewing.
Yes.
Were you in the East End Brewers?
Brewers East End Revival.
Perfect. Correct, yeah, I tagged them and I thought so, but I wasn't sure. Yeah.
I think that organization kind of combined with another organization, 2 different or 3 different ones that they come to our brewery from time to time, our tasting room, and so I started home brewing and worked on all kinds of different all grain batches. Visited a lot of breweries. I was a little disillusioned because a lot of the breweries at the time were coming up with it was all West Coast back then, and they had these pale ales that tasted like West Coast IPAs. I said, why are you calling it a West Coast IPA pale ale when it's really a West Coast IPA? So I came out with the Chromatic.
Yeah.
And that is more of a malt forward beer that I really honed the recipe on. Give you a quick little taste of that if you want.
Yeah, let me I'll take Steven's glass and you can take that one. There we go. We're going to get into these a little deeper as we go along, but
that was the beer that we launched.
This was the flagship, pretty much. What you want to call it?
This was our only beer. We were searching to find a place to build the tasting room, build a brewery, and got kind of shut down in some places and so forth. Dan and Greg over at Long Island opened up their place to us. They said we got a couple of tanks available.
Yeah.
We scaled up from a 5-gallon batch to a 30-barrel batch, and rolled it out from there. All kegs for the first probably about a year and a half.
Okay.
Dan and I went out from door to door. We pounded pavement. We went to different restaurants and different bars, and basically just built the brand up from the ground up.
What were some of the first contracts you guys? Was it mostly out east, or did you make
Long Island was the first. Big shout out to those guys, and then Great South Bay was the other one that we used.
You were using GSP.
Yes,
okay.
Great guys too. Davis family, terrific, helped us out in more ways than one. So we've been brewing. We did contracting for a long time, and finally got that running. Got 5, 6, 7 different lines of beers out. Mm-hmm. And then obviously got the cans into circulation, which was a game changer because we got into grocery stores, we got into delis, we got into
distributors. That's right.
Yeah, beer home bevs as they call them. So that's that's pretty much where we were at. So fast forward a little bit, and we get this piece of property that was owned by the family.
Okay.
And we developed.
Well, that helps. That's for sure.
Well, we developed that. That was an arduous task in itself, getting all that to kind of line up. My brother was in the construction business, so he was able to spearhead the project.
Right.
Like all projects, they take a lot longer than they should.
And money and time.
And COVID.
COVID. And I want to talk to you about that because
didn't really want to bring it up, but that put the brakes on everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much got our liquor license on March of 2020.
Oh, God.
Attorney said you can open. I said, no, we can't. Everything's closing.
Oh, God. It was like the first week or two yet? You were like,
yeah.
Ready
And
to
then
go.
so we continued on and finished, assembling everything, got the equipment sort of into place, and opened up in April of 2020.
Okay.
So that I'm gonna have a little sip of beer.
Yeah, go for it.
Voice a little here, but that was a task in itself.
So I want to go back to, I know you were contracting at Long Island. You guys were hitting the pavement. What were some of the first restaurants or places that kind of took in your beer? Who were those, those establishments that took it? And I want to say this in a nice way, but like took a chance. Like here's a new brand, here's a new label. Early on, 2014, 2015. What was...
You always remember that first one.
Yeah.
Classic Beverage in Hampton Bay. Shout out to Tim if you're watching.
There you go.
Thank you for taking us on. He called us. I'll take a sim of chromatic ale. I went running out there like crazy. Here's that 6 of chromatic ale, collecting my money.
Feet are on fire.
There we go. Classic Beverage. Edgewater Restaurant in Hampton Bays. They keep us on year round. Villa Paul Restaurant, Hampton Bays. Sunday's Restaurant, Hampton Bays.
Yeah. Now, did they have... The amount of craft beer that you see today was the market as saturated as it is today?
No.
Did you feel it back then? No,
there was plenty of it out there, but we were one of the few in some of the restaurants. Most of them that keep us on now have kept us on since the beginning, which is really kind of special and unique too.
Yeah.
Now it is definitely. Obviously, like you said, there's a new brewery open up every single pretty much week, and people tell us, "Have you seen this brewery? Been in that brewery?" So well, I don't even know who the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
There's so many of them, but no, it's actually a good thing. The state has been very good with incentives and building up, helping. It's good tax revenue for them. So obviously, they're tourism and so forth, especially out east.
Now, you guys farm brewery or?
We are farm brew license, and that's coming up for renewal. Actually, thanks for reminding me. Farm brew and craft brew, we have a dual license.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that makes sense because you guys do you have spirits there? I think.
Well, we do. We will pour New York State spirits and wines and ciders and that sort of thing. We don't make them there. I don't promise.
No. I just meant you're able to serve it there. Yeah,
that's a tasting. That's a good conversation.
So let's talk a little bit about those years where you were basically just a label or a can. What was the setup like? You guys were going in with, you gave the recipes to Long Island. Did they work on them? What was?
Oh yeah, Greg and Dan had cut their teeth working for I think it was New England Brewing Company, and they
good old New England. Remember that?
So they built up their repertoire, so to speak. No, we essentially just took the homebrew recipe and we sat down with some software and some calculators. We said we could scale this up and got it into the tank, and out it came. So that was a pretty easy transition when you have some experienced brewers with you.
And if anybody's listening in, or they can actually, they're watching, as you look at all the different cans, there is that one thing that kind of sticks out between everything. It's, crescendo, legato, allegro, sonata, and chromatic. These are all musical terms.
All musical terms. Dan and I are both musicians. My brother, partner in the business.
Nice.
I grew up as musicians.
And you have, and just to kind of go around, this weekend you had a bunch of live acts. You have bands playing in the brew house. You have somebody up front playing guitar, solo act. So you guys are very music centric.
Saturday and Sunday we have music year round.
Yeah. Yep. Didn't want to call it Tuning Fork because obviously you're at Riverhead at the opening of the Twin Forks of Long Island. So double meeting there as well as your location. Let's talk about that location because, interesting enough, you said it was a property family owned. Was there already existing structure there?
250 oak trees.
You built that from scratch?
We did.
Dude, have you seen pictures of it yet?
Yeah.
It's giant. They got a pretty good space for, what new breweries are opening with, bigger than the average brewery that would open up.
Yeah, the plan is to grow into it and, expand out.
Yeah.
But it's been it's been an interesting process. The building it is what it is. The building the brand is it's like I said, we hit some pitfalls. Obviously during the COVID, you open up all these doors and everything else, especially with the restaurants and on premise, so to speak. It's everybody took a bit of a hit. However, with the cans and that sort of thing, that kind of pretty much buoyed us.
Now, just for the COVID times, you were able to do door to door. Did you guys do like drive up? Because you have a nice big parking lot there in the back and everything. Could you?
We had a speakeasy.
Oh, did you?
Park in the back. Don't tell anybody. Remember,
well, you could be outside, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's enough space inside. We were working on the building, and I remember a police officer pulling up and saying, I remember saying to we're entitled to work because of construction, because, the grocery, we're going to sell all that. He said, I'm not here to bust your chops. He said, I want to know when you guys are opening.
I want some beers.
I want some beer. But yeah, no, it was a lot longer than expected, but all good things come in time, so to speak. So
now you guys opened up. What was the actual opening day? October,
maybe the 20th of 2020.
Of 2020.
Somewhere in that, we had a soft opening, and then we had a long open.
Okay.
We never had a grand. In fact, my manager always says it's been the softest soft opening ever because we couldn't have a grand opening. All the social distancing and all that.
Yeah, the front of the tasting room is a good size, but not something where you can pack in like a GSB level of amount of people.
Yeah.
But now you have the brew house open,
yes,
which now extends more people in there. And again, with the social, you didn't have that then, but now it doesn't really make a difference.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
You have a lot more room for activities.
And a big outdoor,
so much more room.
So much more room.
Big outdoor space too.
Yeah. So that was interesting. You made a good decision there. Because you could put some tents, you can hold your own festivals.
Yeah.
There is a tremendous amount of parking. You guys, I've always seen your box truck everywhere. That's something else.
Right.
That box truck has been on Long Island for fucking
Since
years.
2015, I think we bought it.
Yeah, dude. And it has your logo on it, and it's always around. Every time I'm like driving, I'm like, it's freaking Twin Forks going around again. So, I mean, that's just great advertising, obviously, but it's sitting in the back, and it looks like a dwarf. It looks like a Matchbox car in the size of your parking lot. You guys have obviously done a tremendous job on, the space itself. What about the brew house? What did you guys do? How'd you get or where'd you get your equipment from? What's going on in there? Give us the rundown of.
It's a 20-barrel oversized mash tun with a 15-barrel brew kettle, which we're finding we can cram 20 barrels into the brew kettle sometimes.
Depending on the beer, I guess.
Depending on the beer, depending on the gravity and so forth. My brewer's always yelling at me, "We're putting too much on this thing. It's just too much of a pain in the ass." But so we got the brew house was designed by a good friend of mine who's been in the business for about 100 years.
Oh,
and we had it made over in China, of course, where's all that stuff made.
Right.
And it's so we're adding fermenters, we're adding bright tanks, we're adding.
You have room for expansion.
Plenty of room for expansion.
Yeah, no kidding.
Shout out to Malt Man. They've been doing canning for us on site, which is nice.
Love those boys.
Mr. Green and the boys.
Good bunch of guys there, so that's been really good.
And now you guys are obviously, like you just mentioned, you're having them come in, do your can run, going out. Any idea if you would think about or consider getting your own canning line with the amount of space?
It's all in the works.
Yeah.
It's all in the works.
It's all about building it up to that point.
All about building it up and deciding which canning line to go with and so forth.
Yeah.
The volumes and so forth.
So who's your head brewer? Who's
Dan has been jumping in. I'm not going to get into too many specifics, but Dan has been helping us out with from Wort Man.
Oh, okay,
so
all right, cool.
Got us off the ground. He's got a lot of experience. He's worked for Brooklyn Brewery. He worked for Fire Island. He's worked for, I think he was over in Germany. He's got a
Fire Island. Oh, Dan Moss.
Dan Moss, correct.
Holy shit! I love Mr. Dan Moss.
You didn't know that, did you?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So shout out to Dan for making good beer.
Moss.
So just to again take it all back here, Dan Moss was our first official brewer guest.
He was going to try to make it tonight, but he
son of a bitch, Daniel Moss. That would have been great. He can call in. Phone number 516-465-3990. Send him a little text.
He's got young kids like I got.
That is true. Yes, I did remember.
He's bed also. So.
I did wish him Mazel Tov when he had the first one or the second one.
I think he just celebrated a birthday of one of them this weekend too. So.
Oh well, that's why Pete's not here too. His son's birthday. So shout out to.
He has a legit reason.
Rye guy. Yeah.
He's not christening ships. And
he's
and paratrooping.
No, he was. What did we say he was doing last week? I forgot. No, it wasn't christening a ship. I don't remember. Well, anyway, he was doing something crazy though. Like he was doing fighter pilots. No, that was 2 weeks ago.
No,
he's really all over the place.
He just does. I mean, he was the ambassador for the
boner pills.
Yes, that for Hims boner pills.
Yes. Hymns. Yes, he's a hymns.
He's a hymns guy.
I'm not just the spokesperson. I'm also a client.
Sorry, Pete.
Oh, Pete. Well, it was his son's birthday. So Dan, no, I did not know Dan was part of that. So that's awesome. And
he's part of the Maltman group too.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, he was when he went down with the Fire Island ship. We reached out to him, and he goes, I'm going to try some other things, and that was cool. And then I did hear he was with Maltman, and didn't click until just now when you're saying Dan and Maltman. I'm like, oh, shit, wait, Dan Moss. Fucking Dan Moss. Hi, Dan. We missed you, buddy. I haven't talked to him since year one. Pete and I had him in this studio.
He was the first.
Yeah, he was the first brewer guest.
He's got quite a resume.
Yes, he does. You can put that on it now. First guest on the Wort podcast.
Because that's what's going to get him in places.
Yeah, that's it. Put him in the Long Island Brewers Hall of Fame.
Right there is that's. Oh, and he was on the Wort.
Then he's in. He's a shoe. He's the first ballot All-American. Well, it's good to see he's out and still doing what he loves, because that you could tell he really loved doing that, and it really was a tough time with his venture and what they were doing over at Fire Island. Really, he was not his fault. It's just things went sideways. So, awesome. I'm glad. And you know what? Does reflect in the beer. So I'm glad that he stepped in and is doing that. So we're talking about all these labels and everything. From Crescendo to Chromatic, what were some of the first beers that people saw in the bars and restaurants outside of Chromatic?
I went from Chromatic to the Legato Stout, which is a 5.1%. Right to Crescendo after that, because the whole world was going after these East Coast IPAs. Close to a double, 7.2%.
Oh yeah,
it's a fun one, and it's a scary one because it doesn't drink like a 7.2.
No, the heat's not there, and it's
bright.
Session. I like the brightness of it, and that's the one I usually go right to. Take them home with me when I head out to the tasting room.
He's gonna bend.
Oh yeah.
No. It's 2 days left.
2 days left.
2 days left.
You know how hard this has been? People don't realize, and of course I have such great friends.
Yeah, everywhere that's helping me. I got the shirt. I had to custom make it.
When we first started, let me just put this out there. When we first started in 2014, two of our cousins both congratulated us and said, well, we quit drinking.
Quit drinking's a little different.
Not helping the cause here. We need support. Okay?
We need you to be here to drink.
We need you guys to drink our beer. But, so we went out with them. Then we released the Sonata. We had, obviously we do our summer seasonal.
Right,
our Harvest Notes, which we still have on tap in the tasting room. That's
cool.
Pretty much not a pumpkin beer. We just call it the Harvest Notes so we can run it
into the fall,
January, February. Right. We still do the Sugar Rim, which everybody loves.
Yeah,
and we have some new releases coming out. We have a New England Hazy coming out in a couple of weeks.
Ooh.
And a lot of other special things going on. So you're going to have to tune in to
who is developing these recipes.
It's mostly me,
Okay.
and we just tweaked them with whatever brewer we're working with. Like I said, the guys are great. So Bay were great, Dan and Greg were great. Greg Meisch over Great South Bays, but it was super, and help us.
We had Greg on as well.
Yes,
yeah,
and Dan and Greg from Long Island too. They've been great people in this industry, and I think that's what's going to be, the key to all this as we go through our seasons. We've seen that common thread, the camaraderie between brewers. We want a rising tide lifts all ships kind of feel. The idea that your area has become a hotspot for breweries.
No question.
I mean, if we go down the list, there's at least 5 breweries
six in Riverhead.
Within 5 miles?
Within about 3 miles.
Jesus Christ.
People actually, 2 weeks ago...
Oh, I'm forgetting Trade Winds. That's what I'm forgetting.
We had an Uber bus, small minivan bus come in with a group of people. Mm-hmm. They left them there. They had a little bite to eat. They had some beers, flights, and enjoyed a little bit of the football that we had on. And they walked to Long Island. Then they were walking to Uber Geek. Then they're going to walk to, I think it was North Fork, and then either PCB or one of the other ones.
And I'm forgetting about Peconics.
It really isn't. Yeah, it's not a bad walk. I mean, you think about it, you go to the city, you're walking and walking and walking.
Yeah.
So, out in Riverhead, it's kind of nice. The buses are coming; they're staying locally. They don't have to drive all the way out to out east or out to the South Fork or whatever. So
prior to that, like you guys opened in October of 2020, You've seen, did Trade Winds come in before the pandemic?
Trade Winds was about a couple of months ahead of us because Duffy and I, one of the owners, head brewer, we were texting back and forth. I remember him saying, you're right behind us. We should be opening, very soon in terms of getting our licensing and so forth. So
they had an established location. That was the thing, though.
They had an established location. It's a great little location. They're doing, they're doing well right next to Diggers. Diggers is another one. They were the first one in the river to take us on. Still take us on. Buy our beer and regular chromatic. They leave the chromatic on, which is kind of nice. I can go there with my kids and have a burger and wings and have a chromatic. Why not? They've been great there also. But Riverhead's doing it's a renaissance. It really is turning into a brewery. Kind of a destination.
Yeah, and that's it's amazing to see, and we've talked about it on the show a lot. How when you get a centralized, or people would say it's flooding the market, but it's really not. It's bringing people in. For instance, my town, Lindenhurst. We had 27, great. We have Sand City, awesome. Now people are going back and forth. All I do is watch people walk up and down Wellwood to go from one brewery to the next, or to stop at the Village Lantern, or to go over to Breslau, the new brewery that opened up, or just doing a whole tour of the restaurants and bars. It makes a difference. Lindenhurst just got a huge increase in state funding to do more downtown, $4.5 million to do, it was a Newsday, to do a, renaissance change of the town itself, possibly adding, in my hope, more parking. Not a big deal. Nice. Not a big deal. I've never had a problem with parking in my town. But that is a concern for a lot of people. And in Riverhead, it's tight inside where Trade Winds is.
No doubt about it.
Parking lot
the downtown just got some kind of grant also to improve part of the area too. Which is good, because the better downtown does, the better we do.
Same thing with PCB. I mean, they have only that kind of strip and that lot there, and if it's on a packed day.
And right next door is the aquarium.
Right.
I'm cutting out.
Right. No, you're good. That's just your headphones, I think. It's not you.
That small parking lot towards the back, and then you have the aquarium. You can park all the way down the block, but
on a bad day to walk the river, it's tough.
Well, they have off-site parking.
Yeah, and they shuttle in, right?
Somewhat.
Sometimes,
I'm not exactly sure, but we do business.
Last time I was there, I walked.
Yeah,
in the parking lot was down the block.
I mean, think about it, you're in the city, you walk in the rain. It's not that big of a deal. Really big of a deal.
Yeah, well, us country folk.
I don't like the rain.
I don't like the rain. I want to talk a little bit about that relationship and the establishments out there, but I also want to discuss kind of like the birth of the community. You guys came in, and obviously you said you had very good relationships with some of the, I guess the town or the city or the county. What did you have to go through when opening up? What hurdles came about as you were opening up this new location? Brand new construction, all this stuff. I would imagine it's like everything in the book thrown at you.
The first meeting we had was with Chanel Walter, who's now a judge. He was the town's supervisor. He said, this town is going to be a brewery capital before I leave office, or I'm going to set, and you know what?
Was he a bit of a drinker?
No.
All right. Well, he just likes beer. He's a drinker.
They were very open because, Riverhead in certain areas is very blighted. Riverhead has had some trials and tribulations throughout the years, and no bones about that. They were very open to our plan. Really didn't give us any kind of problems.
Really? Oh, good.
Not at all.
Yeah. What about utilities? They have sewers there?
Oh, yeah. We're in sewer. We have electric, gas in the street, I should say. We have 400 amp service electric, so we're pretty set. 2-inch water mains.
Yeah.
But no, the town's been great. I really can't complain. They've been, because they want to see growth. They want to see, we've already, we have like 9 employees on now, so we're giving back to the terms of the community, hiring people and, just adding to the tourism, which Riverhead kind of gets left out by the North Fork, especially at the wineries, which are great. It's a great draw. But I mean, millions of people go out there a year.
Yep.
Riverhead is on the way, and you don't need to sit in all that traffic.
Right.
So our pitch is, we're 2 miles from Tanger Mall. We're a block and a half south of 58. We're literally right there.
Yeah. Get off and you're good to go.
Get off and you're good to go.
The employee thing is interesting. You guys, obviously being out there, you don't have too many people from Nassau County commuting out for the tasting room. So you have a lot of local employees. Who are the people that have been around pretty much the longest? Who's been with you from the get-go here?
Number one, my manager who was out on maternity leave, shout out to her, Savannah. She's been with us pretty much since the beginning. She came on.
I met her. She was very lovely.
Yes, she's have his little baby girl at home. Shout out to the little baby Natalie.
Mazel tov to her.
Yeah, she's been there the longest since pretty much since the beginning. We have Eric, our kind of head mechanic, does some driving for us and pretty much fixes stuff around the brewery and on site.
Agilable trades, as they say. Nice.
We have Haley, our lovely little beer tender. We have Ashley, our beer tender. Rebecca, who just came back for a visit, she's a nurse, and she moved away to go take a job upstate. But she comes back and kind of subs in. So, and we also have Scott. Scott was on in the beginning also. Was a good friend of ours. And he, pretty much in the beginning, we were kind of grew up around the dark because of the COVID.
Right.
Wearing masks. I mean, I hate to keep going back to it, but you're wearing a mask. You have ropes up everywhere. You're yelling at people for standing and drinking and all the things you're not supposed to do in a
Stop
brewery.
enjoying yourselves and
I
drink
remember
beer
walking out to a bus that just pulled up, and there's a woman smoking. I said, you can't stand up with the mask off. She said, how am I supposed to smoke? I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Go by the cars
I'm
in the
not sure
parking
about
lot
that rule or whatever. Anyway, so it's been we've had a terrific staff. Our bartending staff and everybody's working with us has been really, really supportive, really great, really caring. Help us grow our brand and help us really build up what we have in our tasting room.
Now, you guys, like you said, had a lot going on. When did you break ground? What was that first date before the open? Because obviously you said October 2020. So how long was the construction time?
September 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, it took. We put a big giant hole in the ground, and the steel got held up for 7 months, and then that got put up, and then that's when the COVID pretty much took place in 2020. So it was a long process. But if you're in the construction business, you're used to waiting.
Yeah.
2 years is not a long time.
Hurry up and wait kind of a mentality, right?
But no, it was a interesting, and it's still interesting because we're still building, we're still adding things to the tasting room, we're adding things to the brew house,
right?
The warehouse floor, there's constant change. The outside is, we're landscaping it, making it nicer every so often to try to make improvements there. So,
hold on, we have a phone call. This is the Word with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. Who do we got on the phone?
We got on the phone. Just hold this calls.
Who is this?
Just hold this calls.
I don't know who you are. You have to speak a little clearer, sir.
Oh, just for the calls.
Okay. Is this Dennis?
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, you've taken the show to a screeching halt, sir. I mean, I feel like we just rear-ended a bus and all the little children are getting off crying. Like, what? Let's reel it in here a little bit. And okay, we're gonna have to let you go because I have no clue what's going on. And if I had your phone number, I would have probably not answered. Have a good day, sir.
The whole thing, do you know who this is?
No.
Well, guess what?
DJ D Love. Goodbye. It might have been DJ D Love. We're not sure. He was trying to play something or other. Who knows what's going on? Huh?
I was gonna say he's Dr. Russian Mob.
Was that English?
No, I think it was. It was very soft talking, and I'm not in favor of the soft talkers. So we have to be a little more clear. If you're going to call into the show,
I got a big mouth.
You got to be loud and clear. People who are calling in 516-465-3990. So get back to what you were saying, sir. Sorry, I was.
What were we saying? What were we talking about? We're talking about beer. We're talking about construction.
Well, the construction.
The construction
is boring. Let's talk beer.
So. We have a couple of segments we were going to get to you, but we got to get into that in a little bit. Right now, I'm just searching for something so we can go to Instagram Live. However, what I'd like to talk about really quick is just a little bit of your background, sir. So you said you were a home brewer. Where did the home brewing passion come from? What inspired you to start that home brewing experience?
I was in chemical manufacturing, my father's business, for about 23 years. He started in the 60s. I joined there in the early 1991 or 92. I can't remember what year it was. We manufactured soaps and cleaners and truck washes and vehicle washes and lubricants and greases and all that stuff that's boring at a bar. But it's interesting because there's some chemical hot process technology involved, filling machines and conveyors and all that sort of stuff. So I like drinking. I like alcohol. And I said to my brother, I said, we should look to open a winery. He said, okay, look into it. I looked into it. At the time, there were about 40 of them on the East End. He said, well, good luck, because I don't think we need any more out here.
And you need acreage for that. You really do need a tremendous amount of land.
Exactly. And at the time, they weren't making any money. Most of the people you spoke to in that business were pretty much
struggling. Yeah.
No, not struggling. They were gazillionaires. They needed the tax write-off.
Yeah. So you know what? There's an interesting point.
So that was kind of a little disillusioned. I said time to retrench, and then speaking to my other brother, who's really not involved in the business at all, but likes to drink like we do, he said, you're into manufacturing, hot process, whatever. Why don't you either take some courses or learn how to make beer? So I said, okay, that's not a bad idea. So I should open a brewery. He said, yes. So I did exactly what I said.
That is it.
And, I read about it, talked to people about it, visited breweries, took some equipment that we had kind of laying around, built a little 5-gallon system, used a turkey fryer for my burner, built a little false bottom, and remember making my first all-grain batch, my own recipe, my first all-grain batch, and bottle conditioned like most home brewers do. Put it in the refrigerator and let it chill. And I remember just sitting one snowy night, and I said, "Boy, my wife says to me, she says, you want a beer?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "Get one of the beers out of the refrigerator you made." I said, No, nothing worked with that. The airlock wasn't working right. It didn't ferment correctly. I didn't reach my gravities. It's going to taste like crap." She said, "Hold on." So she comes back, and she pours it into my cup. And I'm looking at it. And I sniff it, and I taste it. I said, "Well, if it looks like beer and it tastes like beer, it's got to be beer, right?" So there was the chromatic. That's where the chromatic
really it came from that.
So worked on that recipe for X amount of times, and then obviously brewed IPAs and stouts and different style beers. But I kept reverting back to it because, like I said, when I was visiting other breweries, I kept tasting these pale ales that tasted like IPAs, not a traditional pale ale that had the maltiness or the English notes or whatever. So then fast forward, and I ramped up to a 30-barrel system, which I used essentially a Baker's 30-gallon. I think it was a 40-gallon at the time. Yeah, a 40-gallon.
For your homebrew system, you had that?
Yeah, it was a 40-gallon, two 40-gallon.
That's pretty big pedals for a freaking homebrew system.
Yeah, a lot of beer.
Yeah,
so then we rigged up
a lot of beer.
We bought the Blinkman fermenter. I don't know if I forget the name of the heat exchanger I bought at the time. I think it came from one of those offbeat homebrewing companies, but it was a good heat exchanger. So I was able to replicate 5 gallons to about a barrel of beer.
Okay.
And I remember one batch came out. I was like, I don't think this is going to be any good. So my brother, who lives in Hampton Bays, he said, we're a bunch of drunks. If you take that keg and put it in the middle of the street, it'll disappear. Don't worry about what it tastes like. So we moved on. I kept brewing and kept brewing.
It disappeared.
I remember my wife calling me saying, are you coming home? I said, no, I'm starting my day, because I would start brewing at 5 or 6 o'clock at night in my father's warehouse at the time.
Yeah.
And, worked till 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I said, I'm not actually working. I'm actually perfecting the craft and trying to get into the business now. So, it was a lot of hours and a lot of time, and just, trying to, like I said, replicate a real live brew system. So.
Yeah, I remember getting to the point at home, and like you did, you just keep ramping up. I was up to a 1-barrel system in my backyard, and I had no problem getting rid of beer.
Yeah. Because
I really wanted to take free beer.
Yeah.
Hey, I got some growlers. I'll come over. Are you fill them? Yeah, I'll fill them. Okay. So, but
is that all it took? Like just to say, hey, Steve, you got some.
Bro, the amount of people.
You make a lot of friends.
Yeah. My God.
Well, it's really funny, though, when you actually get into the business side of it, which everybody knows there's a business side to the brewery, which nobody wants to talk about. I remember Dan from Long Island saying, you guys you're finally, you're selling beer and everything else. How many times do you go to a party and people say, where's the free beer? Where's the beer?
Yep.
Your answer should always be at the beverage or at the supermarket or at the, go buy it. Because I'm in business now. I got to pay bills.
I used to tell all my friends, enjoy it now while it's free.
Yeah.
Because the moment I open the doors,
it's not going to be free.
You're not getting it for free anymore.
You'll get a beer, but after that, it's
How many times have you heard, you got to promote, you got to give away, you got to promote, you got to give away. Yeah, give away. I mean, how many times, how much can you give away?
I remember one a brewer who's no longer on Long Island, and he was very big on the island, and he always told me just as I was opening, he told me, he goes, don't give anything away for free. A shirt, don't give it away. A hat, don't give it away, because you paid for that.
Maybe that's
part of your bottom line.
Maybe that's
they will buy it. You don't have to give it away to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe that's why our show isn't as successful as it should be.
Because we give shit away?
Because we just give everything away.
Like tri-clamps?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for those.
I wish
for days.
Oh, God, that'd be great. If we had, if Brewers Hardware sells as a tri-clamp, we'll just make like a trophy out of it.
I'm just gonna come in with a box of tri-clamps and give them as parting gifts.
Yes.
Hey,
listen, you know how many brewers would go, dude, that's freaking awesome.
We'd have a lineup.
Oh, my God. People would be like,
how many
clamps do you get for being on the show? Can I get 6 clamps?
Can I just get 6 clamps? I'll bring beer.
Yeah. Yes, please. And so starts the new revolution of the word. But yeah, no, they're right. You know, giving stuff away to start, I guess, when you're home brewing, that's one thing. But once you have a business model and every single ingredient costs a certain amount, when we were at Dubco and you guys were getting into information about per pound and the best yields out of certain things, and the reason why you do that is because you're just trying to squeeze every cent you can to make a living. I mean, every single quarter, nickel, dime does matter because your margins aren't spectacular as it is. Not a pair of Yeezys. It's ridiculous where they cost $5 to make and you sell them for $300. It's not like that. It's not that kind of business model. So you're making, you hope to make, 20% on what you did, and that's, after you're covering your employees, insurance, and you're saying people don't want to talk about the business end, it's a logistical nightmare. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you did what you did, right?
When people complain about pricing of, and I know a lot of the breweries are trying to hold the line.
Yeah.
They really don't want to increase their prices that much. But at the end of the day, if they don't, they won't be here anymore.
Right. And the thing is, you can find another brewery that makes bigger batches and can sell at a larger, consumable price in a way, in that they're making, 100 barrels, which reduces the size of the beer. People will go right to that.
Mazel tov.
Yes. Cheers, sir. Oh, wait, we have this thing here. We'll do this. There you go. That's our little sounder for whenever anyone says wort or whenever we drink.
At the end of the day, it is a business. You have to recognize the fact that it is a business. And it's funny because, even like the post-shift beers, we don't charge our employees for beer ever. Even take it home with you. It's not nobody abuses it. But you think about it. I mean, a pint of beer down the drain.
Yeah.
That all that stuff adds up. And even Steve was alluding to before is you can't afford to give stuff away, especially when you're getting things off the ground and you're watching all your pennies and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But
is that the conversation businesses have with their employees? Like, listen, we really got to start going. We're going to try to limit it now, but as things get rolling and we start turning profits, we'll open it up and more to that. And I know you said you're kind of letting your employees have, I don't want to say their way, but you know what I'm saying, like to a degree. Do you think there are businesses that go, oh, listen, let's start moving slowly here, and then we can go faster in regards to like give backs to employees or even raises, after a while, just in the last 2 years, things have gotten tremendously expensive.
You'll see, and we've spoken to a lot of breweries, some really big, some really small. The smaller ones, the owners do pretty much everything.
Right.
I mean, look at 27A.
Down to bartend themselves.
You got Ryan and Melissa. Yeah. They do everything.
Yeah. Brewer in front of house.
Brewer front of house. When they can't be there, they close.
Right.
But then you got, Sand City,
who
has, 30, 40 employees. And
between their locations,
And, again, it's size, what they're doing, what they're looking to do. The smaller, it's a little tighter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure every single drop at 27A matters to them.
Oh, without doubt.
I talked to Richie Vanberg over at Greenport Brewery all the time. Yeah. We're good friends and, kind of my confidant.
He's another one we need to get on, just so you know. I'll reach out to you later.
I texted him before. I had some stuff to talk to him about. Yeah. New York State Brewers Association.
Oh, well, tell him about the word, because we've been trying to get...
I'll push him.
All right. Yeah.
We confer all the time, and it's funny because they're a huge brewery. They've been around a long, long time.
Yeah.
And, we're just... Even talking finances, he said, I'm doing the same thing as you are. He said, the only difference is the decimal points moved over. He said, but really, it's all the same shit. It really is.
Yeah.
He said, it's not much difference between what you guys are doing and what we're doing.
I mean, they're lucky enough to have that nice space out in...
He's got a nice big space.
That's a nice one. And it helps have the food and the element of... Same thing like,
he's right in wine country. Right in wine country.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful space, but it's also then seasonal. So, going into, November through March, it's got to be tight. no one's hanging out on the lawn playing, brewbag or cornhole.
They actually just I don't know if we were talking about it, Dubco or so. Pat had left Greenport.
Right.
He's doing his cantina now.
Yes. Yeah.
But Greg Dorosky came back, who used
Greg
to...
Dorosky's the head brewer there now, yeah.
Yeah, he came back. He was original, and then left and opened up Threes Brewing.
Right.
And then kind of he wanted to open up out east, and then tried to run for
some political thing.
Some political spot because he was trying to get the laws changed out there because he was trying to open the Threes out there. But he had to leave Threes.
Right,
because you can't. It's a conflict of interest.
Southold you talk about Riverhead.
Is that where he wanted to be?
Well, Southold Township is part of the whole thing. Riverhead. Like I said, from my perspective, we had no issues whatsoever in terms of putting the building up and opening the business up. But I do hear that Southold has a lot of red tape, and with good reason, they want to maintain the that kind of rustic appeal. So you can't really.
They're very worried about traffic. They don't want people pulling off the side of the road, hanging out,
Now, Sound Ave is a beautiful ride.
It is.
And it wants to remain beautiful.
It is.
Greenport Harbor is a beautiful town, and you don't want to, over-industrialize that area that they have that huge warehouse behind. So I guess, and that was for Greenport, by the way. But I'm saying...
But Greenport, that's their attraction, is Main Street. It's, people coming out, going to the restaurants, going to the bars, hanging out there.
It's one of those things where I could see why Threes wanted to do it. They're like manifest destinying their way all the way out east. They got their new establishment.
Be part of the whole.
Yeah, when you're a farm brewery and you can open up satellite 100%, locations,
100%.
They had a great thing going in the city. Well, we'll call it the borough, and their ability to come out to Huntington definitely helped. That place usually does very well throughout the weekends. And it's just a tasting room.
Can we talk about our tasting room?
Yes, let's do it.
We do. So we do private events. We have a bunch of them booked, actually, which was really good. Yeah,
like I said, your calendar was packed. When I looked at that on Instagram.
Well, we have that. We also have rehearsal dinners, and we do all these private events, too, which we're getting a lot of inquiries for all of a sudden. Because
interesting.
It's becoming kind of what I'm getting to is the catering halls will only take a certain amount of people for events. I mean,
large amount.
Exactly.
Yeah.
50 and under, they don't want them.
Right.
So which has been good. We do sell to a lot of the catering halls out there too. Vineyard Caterers being one of them. Excuse me. So we're getting a lot of that. We do have the space for 50, 60 people.
Nice.
Too small for them.
You bring tables, chairs.
We have all that. We have all that. We have outside caterers. We do.
Cool.
We do all that
cool.
whole thing. I think I booked 3 of them today for all going between March, April, May, June is already starting to book out.
Jesus.
For private events. As far as the regular events, we do have. I didn't bring my calendar with me. If you could pull
look it up.
Instagram, we could talk about that too.
Yeah.
We have 3 good bands coming on. You got to remind me which name of those bands are. Deadhead Band's one of them. They play at our place all the time.
Yeah, you released your this
February
week's
18th.
events.
Yeah, okay, good. Pull that up because I don't have my phone in front of me.
You have live music by Erin.
Yep.
And I like how you put in kid and pet friendly because you do have a lot of space there. So.
We do, but no horses.
No.
I did catch
Jamesport. Yeah. Jamesport.
We're bringing the horse right.
Bring the horse right to the tasting room. Christ, we were talking about it for a while. You got Aaron Chase. You got Dan Mealy. You got who are those guys?
Who are those guys?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're great. They're terrific. You could probably get some feed on one of the older posts. They have a really great 3-part harmony.
Oh, really? All right. I'm sure you tagged them somewhere in here.
Yeah, they're in there.
Denise Keene.
Kearns, yeah. Keene. Correct.
Yeah.
She's
Band Jam with the Deadhead.
That's the one I was talking about. That's a big band. It's $10 cover.
Okay.
3 bands from 1 to 7. We have
now, do you run into any issues with like ticket sales on a place? Like, well, how does that factor into the business? Like, how do you even rate? You're going to get security there? Like, what do you?
Yeah, for bigger events, we'll bring security in, yeah.
And you'll have it in the back by the brew house,
correct.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so you kind of have that. Deanna Hudson is playing Spinderella and the Posers. Get out of here.
So that's going to be our Caribbean beach party.
Wow, I've heard of that. Okay, Christian
Padavan. He just played there yesterday.
So that was the one I saw.
American Idol.
Yes, and he sounded awesome. And he was... yeah, there he is. There, let's see. There he is. And it was a last-minute gig, huh? So he's like, "All right, I'll do it."
We had a cancellation, so he pinched it. He plays every month and a half.
Someone,
they're really good musicians. Really try to keep on our on our calendar.
And you got, let's see, High Low Jack's Band, As Is, Dead Ahead on that.
Yeah, that's that Dead Ahead.
That.
Yeah.
So you got like a full
that's a full
concert lined up.
That's a full lineup there.
Yeah. You got opening, you got your middle, and you got your closing. That's, wow. All right, so that's happening on Saturday on February 18th. And go to info@twinforkbeer.com for more information, or you can get it right through, I think, here. If I
you should be able to tag it. If not, blame me or
the
link
website still have it too,
right?
If
not, blame me. I'm the one that's been managing Instagram.
You and IP were talking before we walked in, and you're like, Instagram, I'm just getting used to it again. And like, what happened where now you're in charge of that? What's going on? Did someone end up moving on? Or
no, well, my manager Savannah is out.
So she was taking care of it.
She was doing all the Instagram and all the social media stuff, and kind of trying to give her a little bit of a break. So
I said
I can do it.
Yeah,
not any fun with it. It's a young person's thing, and it's just not my gig. But it's very necessary for any business. You have to have it.
And I was about to say, because this is your feed and what you're doing, and the announcements and the marketing and all that other stuff, showing people new beers.
Just the thing with the algorithms.
Yeah,
and when you post.
Yeah, exactly.
You have certain times of the day you need to post.
And I got to give some credit to the rest of the staff. Most of the bartenders are 25, 26, 27 or whatever, and they're really up on this whole thing. It's funny because I'll run into a jam up. In fact, we had Grill and Villain there on
really?
Saturday. He came in. Excuse me. I was talking to him about you got to do this. He said, "Well, I don't really know." I said, "Hold on. Talk to one of our bartenders. That person will fix your So he's able to do a little bit more. You learn from the young knowledge. But you have to have it. You have to have that, and it's got to be constant. It's got to be consistent, and it's got to have good content.
You got to have posts. You got to have stories. You got to have shorts. I mean, one of the things we were posed with, I'm going to say like year 3 or year 4, is to you guys need to have a TikTok. Now, listen. I have kids. My kids are on TikTok. It's all, to me, just blurry nonsense.
How old are your kids?
12 and 9. Now, my daughter,
TikTok is
I'll put it this way.
Young.
They don't have TikTok themselves. They watch TikToks on YouTube the way they go. He's like, oh, no. They watch on YouTube, so I know what it's all about. Now, I'm a high school teacher, so I know it's just deadening the brains.
You're killing me over here. You know that.
Oh, God.
You get 2 more days, or is it less than 2 days?
You have one more? Keep one.
I have 1 day.
Here you go.
Yeah.
This is the Allegro.
I'm going to grab that next.
That's right.
But you have to be up with the
West
social
Coast
media.
They're coming back. I drank West Coast.
I love West
beating
Coast.
As the beers are starting to come out, we're starting to kind of waver in between conversations. When I was in college, I drank West Coast IPAs.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's all was available for IPAs. Yeah. But IPA is the acronym for isopropyl alcohol, which is rubbing alcohol. So my roommate and I would get a 6-pack of Pete's Wicked, or we'd get a Sierra Nevada, or one of those.
Someone answered that to your questions at one point. We have a segment. We're going to get into that in a few minutes, but someone answered that at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Pete's Wicked Ale, and we're like, whoa, Pete's Wicked Ale, remember that shit?
I loved it.
So it was so hoppy and so bitter. You could have 2 of those and then just drink 90 ice the rest of the night. It didn't make a difference. It all tasted.
The hops would stay on your palate.
Stay on your palate, and it didn't matter what you drank after that. But they would say, "Well, you drinking a rubbing alcohol again?" Because IPA was, that's isopropyl alcohol.
The transition from that to where we are now, you've seen it kind of progress. You stayed true to some traditional styles here, but you said you are doing a hazy, and I want to get into that in our segment after the quick break. But what would be some of those, we'll call them hype beers for the moment, but the hype beers that you have to have? You have to have a hazy at this point. What's another one that people have been asking for that, as a traditionalist, you're like, fine, whatever?
I mean, I hate to tell you, this is our lineup. It's pretty much year round.
Yeah.
We do have a.
How many taps in the tasting room?
We have 8, but we're going to add another 8, I think, and try to mirror some of the ones, especially for the seasonals. But
and you have room in the tasting room for sure. You have room in the fridge for
we have plenty of room for all that stuff. But sours are very, very popular. I'm not a huge fan of sours unless they're super crisp and super clean. I don't like the funky flavors.
Yeah. I've seen ones that are like cranberry, and they're just super clean. It's just clear red drink.
There's some very good sours out there, so that's in our offering. We're going to do a barrel aged, bourbon barrel aged. We work with LIV. We buy their Long Island spirits, Long Island vodka. Okay. So we buy their vodka. We pour that in the tasting room with our mixed drinks or whatever.
Like a mocktail beer.
Mocktail beer.
Thing,
in fact, my manager sent
It's not
me
mocktail. It's what do you call it? Not beer mosa. What is the beer and alcohol together? I just saw something on.
I just saw the same. My manager sent it over this morning on Instagram. She saw it.
It was a Miller Lite, Tito's, and the OJ. Yeah, it's a chick from Barstool.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
That was. I see. Now you know Instagram now. You know it. Don't fool us. You're getting that. I scroll through those feeds. I forget.
It looked good.
Bromosa?
Bromosa. There it is.
Yeah, it is. It's a Bromosa. Yes. It's a Miller or Michelob. It's
no, I think it was 90.
Might have been something like really
dirty. Miller Lite.
Could have been.
Big.
Big tall boy of it. A full thing of a small Tito's and OJ, and it's. She said it's fantastic, and I don't know what she's talking about. Yeah, Tito's screwdrivers were just said on my phone. It looked terrible, but she was like, "This is really good," and I'm like, I kind of want to try that.
Yeah, me too. And I'm not a really big mixed drink.
No, but it's an interesting thing where like once you have that farmer's license, you can experiment with those
100%, 100%. That's what makes us unique too. I mean, I don't know about unique, but we definitely offer local wines. We offer cider, Woodside ciders for the most part. They're in Aquabog.
Yep,
and we do keep the Long Island vodka on year round. Because that's a big one. People like to have those mixed drinks. So
without doubt.
You need those. You need something for everybody to keep yourself, again, marketable for those buses that come in or for whatever it is, and the family with kids. And you guys have soda or and juice, I think.
Did you guys play around with seltzers at all?
Seltzers, well, not really. We kinda,
good. I'm glad.
I don't. I think that ship has sailed for. The
well, I will say this. Dan Moss, I really like his sea salt ale.
That's sea salt ale from Fire Island?
Yeah.
I used to buy it all the time.
I like that. And that was almost like a Goza.
Yes.
It was just a little tart, a little salty, but with a beer kind of spine to it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the ones I really liked.
I like that one a lot.
And then the Lighthouse IPA.
Lighthouse IPA was good.
Those are the two that I really like from Fire. And listen, I live right by Southside Seafood Restaurant. Sure. They always had Fire Island on tap. Always. Every time I would go there, it's like, yep, I'm going to get some beer. I'm going to get a beer to go, walk down the block back to my house.
Bastard.
And take my fried clams with me. Fried clams. All right, we got a little segment here. We're going to play some music. We're going to ask you a couple, you, Stephen, are going to ask Pete some questions about his beer experience. And we're going to call this segment Steve's 3 Questions. Hey, you cool hep cats. Tonight, we bring you a very special presentation. 3 questions with our very own Steve Pominski. Yeah. Steve's questions. 3 questions from Steve. 3 questions. Steve's questions. Go. I knew you were going to come with that.
Had to.
Go ahead. Explain it away, Stephen.
All right, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Not all at once, one at a time, because we need to think about these questions. Very, very simple. Truthful answers. That's all we're asking for. And then nothing that's going to incriminate you or anything like that. It's just...
I wouldn't think of it as that at all. It's just very innocent.
But some people get like 3
questions.
questions. What the hell are you asking me?
Yeah, no.
What?
It's not to that level. Not a lie detector test.
No.
What is your quest?
Your favorite color?
What?
My thinking may be a little impaired right now. So.
Oh, all right.
Quite all right.
I like it. All right, we're going to start off with, what was that one beer back in the day that got you interested in craft beer? You were like, oh my God, I've never had anything like this. What is this?
Without question, Pete's Wicked Ale.
Yeah, there it is.
Damn, there it is. I love it.
Dating myself,
I know we were talking
about it. Bar when I was in college. We were watching a really cool band, and somebody we were with in the group said, "You have to try this beer." And I poured it. It was in a bottle. They didn't have it on tap. It was in a bottle, and I poured it. I said, "Whoa, that's pretty hoppy. I didn't know what the hell hoppy was. It's very, very bitter. It's really good, though. And I had about 4 of them.
Yeah.
Knocked me on my rear end.
Yeah.
One of my most favorite days I was at GABF, and one of the guys brought over Pete, who was the originator of Pete's Wicked Ale, and I told him, "You bastard! Why did you sell that for?"
What do you look like? Describe him to me.
I'm just
interested because
older guy, receding hairline.
Okay.
Just a normal dude.
Like
he
you
was
see
literally
Jim Cook, and you're like, Jim Cook. You
all
see
met
Sam
Jim Cook.
Calagione, and you're
We
like,
all
I know
Sam
Sam.
Calagione.
Yeah, I mean but
Sam's on our website, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he come through?
No, we were at so we sold a lot of beer in the city.
Okay.
It's picking back up in the city. Contrary to what
Finally,
I'm telling you, finally. On Fifth Avenue. Oh, you know what it was? I can't think of the name of the place. It's Fifth Avenue and Broadway. It's an Italian kind of a setup. Mario Batali is part of it. I can't remember the name of the place. It's a restaurant. It's a rooftop restaurant bar. Sam Calagione had some kind of interest in it, and they had maybe a 3-barrel, 2-barrel system. Happened to be brewing there. And so,
was it Death Ave? No,
that's too far down. To me after
I know exactly the place he's talking about.
Yeah, can't think.
Because I
not
had
ABC.
I had a buddy that actually brewed there for a little bit, and it was
tiny
this little
thing. It's a rooftop restaurant. Rooftop. It's an Italian setting.
Italy.
There you go.
Wow.
So he was there.
You dove deep into your brain for that one, didn't you?
It's on our website, but he's cheersing us and drinking our chromatic, I think, out of a growler.
What?
Essentially, just like cheers us.
This
is
savage.
A good beer.
Yeah,
and
he is.
We had about a 10-minute conversation about how we were, contracting, self-distributing, and getting parking tickets in the city and all that kind of stuff. He said, yeah, same shit.
Double park in the box
I went
truck.
through the same shit. Now he's a gazillionaire. So
yeah.
So
stand-up guy, real nice gentleman.
Yeah, I've heard great things about his. I mean, it's hard to get a hold of him, but once you do, he's just so.
Oh, he walked right up to us. He just said, he saw us pitching the.
Well, I'm just saying, like at events, most of the time, if we've ever crossed paths at an event, it's hard to we got a hard time getting Kelsey Grammer on the show, but I mean,
he's lucky he didn't get
unless
punched in the
Jake
face.
totally denied us, so whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Happens.
it's difficult to get those high caliber industry names to kind of just lock them down for even 5 minutes to come on. But yeah, when you do, it's usually gold.
Without a doubt.
And give you some good advice, I would imagine. Just
second question, let's lay it on me.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
As of today, what is your favorite style?
Oh boy, my favorite style right now is the crescendo. I just love that East Coast style. It's not a hazy. It's close to a double. That particular beer just does not drink like a 7.2. You know it is, and as we all say, it's a slippery slope when those beers go down so good. But I do like a lot of different styles of beer. I remember
this is delicious.
We used to go out to a place called Barley Creek in the Poconos.
Oh yeah,
dude, we had them on.
Oh, they stole something. There was a
Love that place.
Brew pub. Another place where I kind of cut my teeth in craft beer.
So did you been there when they had like the full facility with the fire pits and the wiffle ball field?
This is going back a little ways, but
fireworks shop still over the creek there.
Fireworks shop was over the creek. We skied over at with Camelback and those mountains over there. So we would go to Barley Creek and tie one on there.
Yo, dude, I love Barley Creek.
It was fun.
The food was delicious.
Food was delicious. Yeah. The vibe was really cool, and that was probably an early kind of inspiration. It's like, these guys are,
and they do very similar traditional
style beers. So that's kind of got the roots going too.
That got me because when we had them on during COVID. It was kind of at the tail end of COVID, but we went for a dance competition at.
I did not.
No, not
Yeah.
Steve and
I.
Yeah, we're doing duos.
We did not
ballroom dancing. But my family and I, we went, and we ended up going over there. And I, just Google search breweries by me. Went over to Barley Creek on a whim. They had food. We sat down. I got a flight. It was COVID because I remember we had to go in a specific thing, but once you sat, you're good. But I remember when I pulled in and I looked around, it's like a campus. It's a beer campus, outdoor fun beer camp. People were playing ultimate frisbee out in the big field there. They have a whole facility up on the hill a little bit, not the state park side,
right.
But like when you come in the parking lot, you're looking at the restaurant, it's behind you.
Yep.
And it's like a whole, and then they were doing, like I said, fire pits with s'mores packages. They got taps on over there. It was amazing. Now, it was a little chilly for when we went to really be doing all that, but there were people out there braving the cold, just having a ball. And I was like, this place is fantastic. If we had something like this on Long Island, Like if you go up to what's the campsite up on the North Shore of the East End? Why can't I think of it?
Hither Hills?
Yes, if you go to like Hither Hills, and they had this just stuck in the middle of the woods. It's fantastic. And the beer was delicious, and that's why. And we had them on the show, and I reached out and I was like, "This is fantastic." They said, "Thanks very much." Got them on the show.
I need to go back there.
Yeah.
It's family.
Yeah, we will. I will. When we go to another dance competition at one of those lodges, not Great
Again,
Wolf, but
you and your family.
I said that.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't you're need welcome
anybody.
to come.
I don't want anybody to think
watch,
that you and I are ballroom dancing or samba or
kids
whatever.
Kids dance all night, all day. I need a beer after
that. I've done cheerleading competition, dance competition.
I'm trying to convince all the dance dads to like skip one of the days and just come out to that and have a great time.
Larry from Spider Bite and I used to every so often meet at cheerleading competitions our daughters were in.
Oh, they were
opposing? And we would like, we got to get the hell out of here. We got to go outside and have a drink.
Freaking brewery. I can't wait
That's how I started. That's how I started.
But that's a good call. I mean, Barley Creek. Yeah, it really, it was a fun experience.
And this is
a
5%. Man, there's nothing better than a nice 5% stout.
Well, I'm going to have that as my
all day long.
My next one here.
Well, you know what? I got a third question for you.
But
I was waiting for it.
Wait, what? The second one was the style, so the East Coast. Okay.
Look at the head on this thing.
Yeah, look at.
It's not nitro, it's CO2.
Yeah, tiny bubbles.
No, it's the color too.
Yum yum. Good job, Daniel.
You go to a restaurant or a bar. What's that one beer? Could be from any point in time when you were younger. Can't be your own beer. But what's that one beer that you would hope that you could have?
I got to tell you, there are several. I'm going back to it, way back. I always like Bass Ale, but I'm telling you, Samuel Adams Boston Lager on tap.
From Boston.
One of my favorite beers of all time.
Your cousin from Boston.
Exactly. One of my favorite beers of all time.
Nice.
Pete would agree with you wholeheartedly. He loved the old Sam Boston Lager.
Goes back to, we're a little bit older. It goes back to the day when you, same thing. People were like, oh, what are you drinking? What's this Boston Lager? What is it?
You mentioned Bass. I haven't had Bass.
I haven't in a long time either.
God, I can't tell you. Meanwhile, I used to drink the crap out of it.
Well, I would black and tan it, Bass. And
oh,
Guinness.
yeah.
Oh, that would be when I would have my Bass. I don't think I would have had a Bass. And then I went to Killian's.
The Killian's too, for sure.
With the half. That was always good. But yeah, Boston Lager. Let me ask you this, and you guys, kind of grew up with this, and not that I didn't. I did, but I wasn't an avid Boston Lager drinker. Is Sam Adams Boston Lager its own style? Has anyone been able to replicate that in any way, shape, or form?
I mean, you talk to anybody from there. I've gone there. I've done the tour.
Yeah,
and the whole works. Yeah. And yes, it is a unique beer. For
what reason?
They do brew it different than like a regular lager.
Right. It's kind of maybe like the toasted lager. That's definitely taking it different from Blue Points. That's taking it a different level. I think it's more grains, obviously. Different style grains.
Just the temperatures that they were actually a lager. It's supposed to be lagered,
right?
And they were, fermenting at a higher temp for a shorter period of time, but able to get that crispness and.
Because I've had this conversation with other people outside of the show and been able to kind of break down what separates Sam Boston Lager from other lagers in that style of that range. So for me, it's been a journey into trying to find something close to it, but there's nothing that really even comes close to that I've had. And yes, toasted lager, but it's its own thing.
It's its own thing. Yeah.
Is it really just the ingredients and the process?
It's process.
It the water?
No doubt about
it.
Process.
Yeah.
Process. No doubt about it.
Now, how come no one's been able to crack that egg and figure that out?
You know what? Because how popular is that right now?
What,
I mean,
Boston Lager?
There are people that still drink it, but...
Yeah, but I'm sure if it's still distributing at a mass scale like it is.
Right. Why would you try to attack that big...
To make it a craft version?
It's a conversation that we contracted for X amount of years.
Yeah.
No brewery is really, to our knowledge, has even copied any of the beers that we've had. Sure, have they taken some ideas, and maybe we, as brewers, we always kind of go back and forth and confer.
We call it inspiration as opposed to stealing.
Or just, oh shit, now what? One of those deals. But I don't. I mean, even Long Island said when I was actually working with them and training and learning the mentoring. What do you call that when you're working for somebody for free?
Apprenticeship.
Yeah. I think I was
working for them for free.
Yeah. I remember Dan from Long Island saying, "Don't steal our recipe." I said, Dan, I don't want my beer to taste like yours. No offense. You have your your Celtic, you have your IPAs, and I don't want it to taste like that. I want our beer to taste like our beer, because if somebody walks into my tasting room and says, this tastes just like Celtic Ale.
X, Y, and Z, yeah.
Or whatever it is.
I'm not even going to joke.
You would go to the bigger brand, you think? You think people just go, if I'm going to drink this beer, I'm going right to the people that drink that beer. You don't think they would say, well, I enjoy this one because it's, I wouldn't call it mom and pop, but it's a smaller brewery with, more of that home feel. It plays mind tricks on you a little bit, right? I mean, it's like the decision making you have.
The thing too, though, is why do you want to replicate somebody else's stuff?
No, I don't think you would, but I'm just saying someone could try to get close just to that taste profile.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah,
because I would want my own.
You want your own brand identity.
Yeah. I mean, I've never ever tried to. Well, one time. One time I said, you know what, goddamn. Blue Moon, fucking so popular. I'm going to try to brew something like it. I tried to brew something like it, but then once I started to brew it, I'm like, no, I don't want it to taste like it.
Right.
But something in that vein wound up winning a GABF medal, but it was a Belgian Golden Strong.
Right.
That had orange peel in it.
But it was a stronger version of the Blue Moon.
It was a stronger version.
Your twist on...
Once we started getting into it, I'm like... Yeah, I don't want it to taste.
Was that 3 questions?
Yes,
we got all 3.
Yes.
Yeah, you said Bass. You said Sam Adams.
Yep.
And I think those were the 2.
And the Boston Lager. And going back to that really quick, even though it again probably has not been replicated into the form it is still popular. It's still people are still.
I'm not saying it's
still
not
stocked to the rafters. People are drinking it,
but again, it's like.
But to the level of what craft has.
Pete going, I'm gonna brew a Budweiser. I'm gonna try to hit that shit. No.
Well, you just called the Pilsner then.
It's funny that there's more of a call for lagers now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's people are looking. They're easy drinkers.
I see you have the Kolsch, wherever that is.
Jump on it. That's the Sonata. That's the Kolsch style.
Yeah, Kolsch style. That's I had that. It was delicious.
Yeah, it's not a Kolsch yeast.
Yeah.
So we always say Kolsch style and the italics.
The idea of what you guys are putting out. Let's break it down. Let's go through it. Start with chromatic. What did you do originally with that first brew, and where is it at now? Give us a little. Don't give us all the secrets.
It's fine.
But a little bit of the ingredients of what's going into this.
No, I mean, like I said, I sought to make a traditional pale ale. I want something that had some a malt forward characteristic that had the hop, the hop influence.
Right.
Because I was disillusioned. These breweries were coming out with delicious West Coast pale ales.
Yeah.
West Coast IPAs. And their pale ales taste the same as the IPAs. I said, what's wrong with a pale ale? I mean, a Bass Ale is a pale ale. Yeah. Was not inspired by Bass Ale.
That is true.
Definitely wanted something in those lines. So that's what made it to stand out. We have a lot of just strict chromatic ale drinkers. They come in, that's all they want is chromatic ale. That's their favorite beer. They won't go to any other craft beer, but that appeals to a lot of different ages. Maybe a little bit of an older crowd. Yeah. But there are some younger people that come in and, that's what
that would be one of my go-tos. And Crescendo, the 2 of those, to me, have that likability right up front. And I'm not, I am a haze boy. I love my Crispies, though, and I like my traditional styles. I'm everywhere. I'm all over the place. But to me, those 2 have always stood out. And that's what has made them kind of your flagships and your core beers. And I like the fact, and just going visually, like Steve was saying before, the consistency across the brand lines or the labels. The chromatic sits with no color. It just is just reverse. It's can, it's silver. I mean, it is color in a way, but it just, that stands out more, and it represents what I know as Twin Forks' core brand. That's the one that's been around the longest.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, I know. I mean, moving on, to the Sonata, which is a Kolsch style. The Allegro IPA it's a West Coast. It's a session beer. We're getting a lot of. I mean, since we've opened, people just like to have a few beers.
Yeah.
And be okay, and that's why we've stuck a little more to the lower ABVs. We're going to release We will release a heavier ABV beer triple, for lack of a better term, depending on what we decide on.
Doing Belgian triple?
Possibly. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. We have once we get enough fermentation tanks.
Yeah,
we're going to be introducing a lot of different beers, but methodically.
Yeah.
No reason to release a new beer every single week.
No.
Because then you get into a situation.
Well, then you're sitting on beer.
Yeah,
and
so we know this course sells. This course sells in the tasting room. This course sells out in the street, and we're confident. Maintain everything. Maintain the consistency with it. That's where we're staying with it.
In the chromatic, I'm going back to my original question. Did anything change in the hop profile? Anything change in the grains? It's pretty much.
We've kept it as close as possible. I mean, sometimes you do get a little hang up in the
supply chain.
Supply chain hasn't been a problem lately, but it's been
pretty true. Now, what are the hops we're using in that one?
Styrian Goldings, Cascade, and Centennial.
Nice. Okay. All right, so some traditional, gold level hops. Yep. Love that. And then let's bounce that against the Crescendo really quick. Mm-hmm. Because this is more that East Coast. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're going for a little more hop forward here. What differs from these two? Obviously, it's a style change from pale to or just an ale in general to an IPA. What is the grain bill here? What is the hop profile of Crescendo?
I'm not going to tell you all that.
No, I know. I said don't tell me secrets.
The beer moves very, very well. People like the flavor. They like the profile. They like the fact that it drinks like it's 7.2. It does not drink like a 7.2.
No.
It drinks way, and it's a slippery slope when you drink it. These, but
that's right up my alley though. 7.2 is like my median area. That's where I like to be.
Like, Steve's a good, he's a good brewer. You got a good balance at 7.2.
Yeah,
I think you start going over that, it gets a little bit alcoholic, gets a little medicine-y tasting.
Even 7.5 speaks to me, saying that's a little higher.
Yeah,
but 7.2 is like, oh no, that's fine.
I think we kind of dialed.
It's so silly, but it's true. It's very true to put it 7.2. I mean, I'm drinking triple IPAs from Root and Branch over the weekend, and I'm like, oh god, I'll drink. Mike, to answer one of Steve's questions, I'm still drinking Dogfish by the case.
We know that.
Which one?
60
minute. Yeah,
I like the 90.
I do too. It's a little too tangy and fruity
60.
at times.
I like the 60, but the 90 is good. The 120 is over the top.
Oh yeah, I
have
those
a friend
too.
who loves the 120s.
I have them aging.
Wow.
I have. I have.
I got one of our other employees part time, Jeff. Not actually a neighbor, a good friend of mine or whatever. He keeps a Crescendo on tap in his kitchen.
Really?
Buys about a half barrel.
Wait. How's he keeping in his? How is he keeping in his kitchen?
They rebuilt their house and they have a kegerator in their kitchen.
That's fantastic.
It is,
but he has
dangerous.
A half barrel.
It
takes a while to go through.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, by those last few beers, it's got to be like getting a little, starting to roll off a little bit. But it depends on how good you are.
Beers are pretty stable. They hold up for quite a while.
Yeah.
We've had to bring in the retail business, you got to take back expireds. It sucks.
Yeah.
My brother's always, I can't believe it. We got to bring this back from this place. It didn't sell, whatever the case may be. I don't want expired beer on the shelves.
Yeah.
We'll take them. We'll pop a couple, refrigerator, obviously, pop them back open because a lot of times they're not refrigerated.
Right on the racks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll refrigerate them. We'll pop them open. I mean, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-month-old beer. It doesn't taste like it came out of the bright tank, but it's still got some flavor to it, which is a true testament to how.
What rolls off first? Is the hops flavor roll off first?
Usually.
Is it like does anything tinge, or does like the carbonation fall? Like what's the first thing that falls off over time?
If you're brewing a real, and I've had it just recently, somebody opened up one of our old Nerd Girls.
Dude, I have one. I don't know if I told you that, right? I have one of everything.
Poured with a full frothy head.
What?
If you brew it well and you package it well, which
Malt Man will do.
Did for us.
They don't fuck around. There's no doubt about it.
And our DO was always very low. Our dissolved oxygen levels in the tank and in the can were extremely low. That's going to make for a long-lasting
How
beer.
long does that shelf stable? How long would I know on the stout it would be a lot longer than the IPA?
Oh, definitely. Stouts you could leave. IPAs again, you wind up that brightness is gone, and now you get more of that bitterness. You get more of that. It becomes almost astringent. You'll know right away when a beer has been sitting around too long, especially on the warm shelf.
Which is they're very good at some of those places. Sorry to call them out, but they
know they're
it's funny because Dan and I, my brother and I, will go in. I haven't been on the road as much as he has because he's pretty much sales in that end of it. But we will go in and go into some of these places and turn them upside down and say we're taking all the expireds out of here. And we'll credit you back.
Yeah.
And you go in there a week or two later, and there's something from 5, 6, 7 months ago when we told you we're taking all the back. Where was that case of how come all of a sudden it's on the shelf? Because they're trying to sell it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's look, it's everybody's trying to do the right thing. We totally understand all that, and that's why we stay true. We stay true to form. We will,
That's good, man. That does
take back, and we'll
a lot of breweries won't do that.
Yeah, and it takes boots on the ground too to actually go in there and be like,
well, you need a good sales staff.
You think about it. Why do you want old stale beer?
No.
To go to somebody's kitchen.
No.
Why do you want somebody to drink your old beer?
You don't. No, because then they're going to get the wrong taste of the beer that you're trying to push forward.
That's one thing from the beginning we've always maintained, and we're true to form to that.
That's good.
So,
Heatmeister Brew on Instagram was saying check out Noble Savage for the hazies. Yes, Noble Savage is going into.
What?
They do hazies now?
They do hazies?
Get the fuck out of here.
Come on.
No.
Let me tell you, I've turned on a bunch of friends to Noble.
And listen, they need it.
They are
another mom and pop kind of place.
Frank is killing those
grinding, but that's the direction he headed. You know what? They're killing it. And for the most part,
that's what he wants to do.
They need that the profile to be up there for things like that. And that's what your business model, what you're looking to do. You have your core audience, and that's what I also want to talk about. We talked about your staff being from out there. What is the community like for your average, your normal, your everyday drinkers?
As far as
you have people coming in the taste room. I know you're going to have your big pushes in the summer season and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, the
seasonal
thing.
The core people here in February.
Yeah, no, I mean the Chromatic, the Crescendo, the Sonata, probably in that order. Even the Allegro and the Stout. We have stout drinkers year round.
Yeah,
that's all they drink.
Yeah, we were talking about it a couple weeks ago.
Well, again,
you got to have your darks.
It definitely helps that this is just 5%.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
It's delicious.
You get a lot of guys. They're like, "Whoa, I got to brew a stout. It's got to be 8-9%." No, it doesn't.
No,
a nice.
It's a solid American stout that you just want to, and it drinks thin. It doesn't drink heavy, and that's the key. Like
that's kind of like our signature too. Is we have a crispiness.
Yeah,
kind of like not a lingering flavor in the core.
Yeah.
The other beers, like I said, down the road, we're going to experiment quite a bit once we get, like I said, get more fermentation space. But no, you have your core drinkers of all the beers that we have here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we keep on tap year round, and this is, the guys from the auto dealership come in, the school teachers, whoever's coming into the tasting room. They said, I'll take an Allegro, I'll take the Sonata, I'll take, that's what they order regularly. I mean, John comes in on Thursdays. He has, he has his Allegro. That's just what he likes to drink all the time. That's his favorite beer.
Right.
So.
They come in and do it. Let's talk about the Allegra. So this West Coast session, purposely made it a session, lower ABV for people that don't know what a session means, but has that piney West Coast taste.
Yep.
Something you don't see all that often, to be honest with you.
Well, I think you're starting to see a kind of a resurgence.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I've seen, especially on the island too, I've seen a lot of breweries at least have one.
Yeah.
A West Coast session.
You have
a West Coast, but maybe not the West Coast session.
You're kind of diluted with East Coasts. You're kind of diluted with hazies, New Englands, all those. West Coast, it's like the stout. It breaks up the flight.
Yes.
And even it breaks up the drinks too. And a lot of times people coming in, they're drinking Crescendo, or they're drinking Chromatic. I need something a little different. But, they're drinking like I said, the Chromatic or the Sonata, which are low ABV beers, they want a little more flavor. They want a little more of a hot profile.
Yeah.
They don't want to go for a 7.2 Crescendo. They want to have a couple,
they want to drink.
So that
without having
that's what the
feeling.
thought process behind that was.
What is the West Coast hops? Are we using sexy hops? Are we using spicy hops?
I can't tell you.
You tried.
I said with the secrets.
You tried.
Give me one. There's got to be more than one. Give me one.
Maybe a Cascade in there.
Okay, all right. That's not it, though. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
The West.
It's probably an Amarillo in there, too.
It's got to be something piney.
Jeez.
All right, find another one. Find another one. Find another
West
one.
Coast or West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast, West Coast. It's true. I remember Mount Hood hops. Remember?
They're still popular.
They're still out there, but you don't see too many people promoting that like a smash beer with Mount Hood.
Yeah, got Mount Hood and
I got like what the
well, Mosaic hops, were off the charts. I mean,
price wise too.
For a while they were $29 a pound. Now, everybody's Mosaiced out. So it's
now it becomes a hop that is complementary to the rest of the hops.
Right.
Where before it used to be like Mosaic, Amarillo.
So we're working. Dan and I are working on a cryo hop.
Yes.
Here. So that's
one of the things that beer maker uses almost now primarily is cryo.
There's a lot of studies done, and they're very efficient. And you can make it really
get your
good
bang
beer.
for your buck.
Yeah, I mean, and
you're getting the flavor for less, poundage or whatever.
Even the procedures. I'm not going to get into it. Steve can probably pick my brain. Not pick my brain. I'm sure you could probably know exactly where I'm going with this. But I mean, even like some of the procedures for when you're adding the the hops at certain time periods, it's becoming more efficient and actually even a better profile with those cryo hops. So we're working on something like
timing wise,
and
also with these cryos, you get a bigger yield.
And that's the key,
which is tremendous.
The cost to, and
when
again,
you dry hop, you lose a lot of product.
Going back to squeezing every ounce. Yeah. If you can save 29 cents a pound, that's 29 cents back to you.
Well, it's if you
for
could
the same flavor, if not more.
If you could get another couple of cases out of it.
Yeah. Well, because it's absorbing so much, and you have that matter.
Man, for years when it was just pelletized, or you would lose so much product.
Really? Because it would just expand like those shrinky dinks?
It just soaks up all the liquid, and you don't want that unless it's heady topper. You don't want that particulate in your. You don't want you put. When you pour
pulp,
it out, you don't want
pulp in your orange juice.
Yeah. Is this the pulp or non-pulp?
Let me ask you two questions. Number one, do they make a brewing equipment that would push and squeeze that liquid out of the hops after the fact?
There has been that thing for ever, especially when you're a home brewer. Never squeeze the bag. Never squeeze the hop bag.
Why? The oils are too much then? Over oil the over flavor?
Hops change. Different oils are released at different temperatures.
Right. So at the back end when you're cooling down.
There's this whole thing. It's going to add these off flavors that you don't want that are left behind.
What if you were to squeeze it during the boiling process?
Well, you can stick your hand in boiling
water
if you want.
I mean like a machine that would come down.
If you want, you
like
can do
a
that.
French press. Think of it as a French press.
Is that you trying to make a new style?
I don't know. I'm
French press.
The French pressed hopped IPA.
But that's
how's that taste? Like shit.
That's the point of the cryo hops is you get that concentration of all the oils that are coming out of it.
I guess that's the better process,
really
right? Is to
put a what do they call those food things that squeeze out like a lemon
the
juice?
Juicer?
Lemon juicer. You don't need that for the hops.
Juicer. Can you imagine? That's another thing.
The technology has come a long way. A long, long way. Well, it's getting better and better, which is...
Dry hopping has, over the last 4 years, has changed immensely.
So let me ask you that. During a dry hop, this is a question I've never asked. During a dry hop, do those hops now absorb and take in and pull out some liquid that could be used in the beer for sales?
Well, now they have these extruders. You stick your hops in it. Mm-hmm. The liquid goes in. It basically holds it in its container. Like, here's for instance, you ever have Sierra Nevada torpedo?
Yeah.
It literally...
It's like a Randall?
It looks like a tremendous torpedo. Mm. And the wort or the... Depending when they dry hop it.
Yeah.
Goes through it, but the hops never go into the actual tank.
Like a screen or
they're in there.
Micro
they could dry hop a beer in a day's time.
Wow.
Instead of waiting days.
Yeah. Just sitting there and absorb. So you're just you're pulling the flavors off as it flows by.
I know Barrier has one. There's a few breweries that have it where it actually you add the hops instead of going all the way up on top of the 40 barrel, 60 barrel tank and
90 barrel in some cases.
Oh my God, yeah. Trying to get on top of that using a friggin' scissor
You'd be like
jack.
the Hardy Brothers on
or a ladder. That
I was saying, you jump backflip off a ladder. Yeah. Swanton bomb.
When you're hungover.
You pour it into this, it looks like a hopper.
Yeah.
And it will chew it up, but it will force, and it's all, if you want to say airtight.
Okay.
It's all sealed. So now you're not adding any oxygen into this tank.
Okay.
You're going to have a CO2 port that pumps into it. So now you're adding CO2. So again, the less DO you have, the better your beer will be shelf stable.
And you're getting the flavors
and
off of the hop.
you can dry hop this thing.
Jesus.
And you'll lose,
Now they make them in different sizes, for different yields. Yeah.
They're. I always wanted one. I would see them at
reminiscing
CBC.
back to brewery
I would
days,
see them at CBC when they first came out. I'm like, I want that so bad. I want it. How much is that? $85,000.
I was just going to say it's just a $90,000 investment.
Yeah. Well, speaking of CBC,
I could get up on the ladder and pour that in real quick.
Stephen, we are. I don't know if we mentioned at Dubco, but we were cordially invited to go down to Nashville, Tennessee, to attend the CBC. Craft Brewers Conference.
You guys gonna do a Wort podcast there?
Yeah, we're thinking about doing a live show. And I'm not thinking. I've already thought it through, but we want to if we can make this work to do a live show from there. People like Brewers hardware are the types of things that are be down there to see kind of, and of course all the equipment that you're talking about that will be there to showcase to the brewers, because that's a brewers only conference, and obviously
seminars and
right, but basically people selling to the brewers. It'd be interesting to see what kind of equipment, new fandangled stuff is out there that people can utilize. We know about automated brewing systems and phone based iPad
that's
app.
out way back when
Been out forever.
October first came out with their single crowler machine. That was the first time I saw it, and everybody was
losing their minds,
losing their shit. What? I can actually can a beer instead of putting it in a growler, and it's not clean.
Yeah.
It was at 1 year.
Something? Dan Lyle and I, we used to always laugh when growlers first came out, and even like the half growlers, it's the 32 ounces.
Yeah.
Did everybody turn into wimps over time? You can't drink a growler. Back in the day, he said, I bring a growler beer home. I said, that could be enough for me tonight?
Yeah.
People are telling me you're having a growler. I can't drink all that. What do you mean you can't drink all that?
It's 2 beers.
Yeah.
It's 2 beers.
I mean, I get
it.
If it's a 19%, maybe.
Yeah. If you did triple IPA or some freaking stout that's in there.
So you just lay off the power tools. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember I was...
Don't touch the power tools.
I had
a growler.
I had a poker game, and this was the first time that it was around the time where I was enjoying Blue Point's Blueberry Ale, right? So I get a crowler of Blue Point Blueberry, and I bring it to a poker game at my buddy's house. And they're like, dude, what are you bringing all that beer for? I'm like, dude, you brought a 6-pack. You pretty much have what you need. I have what I need. We're good to go. And I'd sit there and I'd growler all night and that's like fresh beer off a tap. They were losing their minds over something simple as a growler. And when people saw that was a craze. Then the crowler came out. And then, obviously that helped survive.
Too, there was this, we had it for a little while. No, it was a gallon. It was these plastic bags.
Yes, I do remember that.
And it had this special adapter.
Yeah. Wait, whoa. There was a gallon, beer in a bag?
It looks
box
like...
of beer?
The dispenser we have for Beer Maker?
Okay.
It looked like that.
Really?
And the guy would bring one of the bags in.
Like you slap the bag
and we had the adapter and we would put it up to the tap and
it would have like a keg tap?
Yeah. And it filled a gallon of beer.
It's like a beer ball?
It looked like the dispenser for the Beer Maker.
You remember the first time you saw a beer ball?
Oh my God, yeah.
I can tell you right where I was. I was at not Siena.
I was at a party.
I was at a party, a college party.
Yeah.
In New Jersey. I'm trying to think. It's right in Teaneck, New Jersey. I can't think of the name of the college right now.
Fairleigh Dickinson?
No, Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah, I went to.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah, Fairleigh Dickinson.
I thought Fairleigh Dickinson.
I went to Florida Madison campus.
Oh, there you go. So
1990.
A little ways back. This was 2001, so a little 11 years later, though. Beer ball was on the countertop by the sink.
Yeah,
and I went.
How many? A beer ball was...
It was a 5-gallon, wasn't it?
I think it was 5 gallons?
I feel like it was. I feel like it was
remember,
a quarter
we used to get them on the beach. We take them to the beach.
It used to... When I remember, they were in liters.
It was this big.
Because we would get
It was big.
But it wasn't... I don't think it was... Maybe it was 5 gallons. I remember... So we took it to the beach, and then high school...
took it to the beach?
We took it to the beach.
Just rolling it down the sand, dude.
We did. And then we had some left over, so we put it in my friend's trunk on ice. So Monday morning at school, lunch hour, we're serving beer.
You had like a literal Dazed and Confused moment.
They were in the back I know that European breweries that have beer bowls.
Really?
Yeah, because I've seen them down in restaurants.
But they go flat so fast.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing.
Because the tap system isn't all that sealed and like it feels like
just
it's
pumping air.
Yeah,
it's not CO2 in it.
But I remember that beer ball and going, it blew my mind that it was just this giant, looked like inflatable bowl full of beer, and I went, is this something people sell? And
Well,
like, yeah.
Along with that used to be the mini kegs you would get from like
the Heineken and the
Dinklelacker
I think it's just recently you don't see them anymore.
You really? I
used to see them in the supermarket all the time. They were in the supermarkets all the time, and
recently Stella and someone else had them. I saw them at Total One.
That's another one. Yeah, Total One.
Yeah,
that's another one. It's a one and done though. Once you tap it, that's it. You
got thrown away. Yeah.
Well, we used to bring them for a pregame at the Mets game. That's what we do. We grab a fucking mini keg and head down, and the two of us would just fucking pound the mini keg for the entire time.
Mets should be good this year.
Yeah, I hope so. God, we're talking 2 Mets fans here.
He spent some money.
I love it. I love it. And listen, if he has enough money left over to buy some beer balls,
and they're still talking about. I don't. We don't talk about sports here.
No,
but how he's not going to get in trouble for basically tampering. Talking about Ohtani already.
Well,
hell yeah,
Listen, you could just say
we'll trade from this year and we'll pay him next year.
Yeah. Well, you could do what you want when you have that many dollars behind your last name.
Giving the bros across the town a little run though. Spending some money.
They need to. And what happens in the end, if they do what they're supposed to do with that, if they do what they're supposed to do, they're going to outshine them with the soccer stadium next door, with the brewery, the new brewery that's sitting there.
Who's the new brewery in there now? Because McKellar was in there for a while.
Ebbs, yeah. Okay. And it's not terrible, but it's. I loved Mickler, whatever. Yeah. I loved them being there. I liked their beer. I really did, and I felt really terrible when COVID hit that it just wiped them out. They had nothing to do. What are they going to do with a satellite tasting room? It was a brewery, but
they were also had the Wilpons had a share.
Yeah,
and that's why.
And then when they left, that was it. Yeah, but Ebbs fills the void because I need a place, and it's really nice to have a brewery in a spot where I'm going to pregame and for a decent price. That's what it is.
Well, that's a good thing with that whole stadium in general is everything's decently priced.
It's not over the top. It's not the Ducks and it's not Yankees, so it's somewhere in between.
It's not UBS.
Oh God. Well, I'll be honest with you. So, by the way, shout out to Lost Farmer. Lost Farmer is not on tap anymore. Montauk is.
Oh.
And yes, sir. And who else did I see on tap?
Flats. We got to finish this up.
Yeah. Well, I'm going for it.
I'm going for it.
Oh yeah. I've been training. I'm good to go.
Cheers. Mazel tov.
Cheers, sir. Montauk's on tap. Blue Point's on tap.
At UBS?
Yeah, at UBS. And,
I haven't been. My brother's been a few times. My kids are kind of small. They're not quite ready. They like hockey. They're just not quite ready for a
Oyster
full game.
Bay. Oyster Bay,
well,
obviously Barn Rocker, right?
Yeah.
So, but they've done a better job at pricing it. I'm going to be honest with you. I was there twice 2 weeks ago. I was there on a Monday night and a Saturday night. Yeah, 2 games in a row. They lost both.
Yeah, I remember that. And I said that to you.
They're starting to win again.
They're starting to do that.
And they just made a huge
Did
trade.
you see that trade?
I don't know. That's a lot of. They give
a first round pick.
Yeah.
Okay. I like their
and
core,
they gave up
Beauvillier.
They both. Yeah.
I know.
And the rookie.
Ratner. I can't remember his name, but he's only played like 10 or 12 games.
Yeah. That's fine.
They need a goal scorer.
I like Beauvillier, but they need
a goal scorer.
And that's what
even with Pajot and Parisi coming back, it's whatever. So anyway, the stadium has done a better job. So they now have a 16-ounce beer for $10. So I remember when we talked to Lost Farmer and we were discussing kind of their kind of UBS connection and all that other stuff. I remember saying to us off air, all the tap beers were ridiculously priced. We're talking about above $20 for a 16-ounce beer.
Well, if you go to MetLife Stadium for a Giant game, it's like $20 for a Michelob Light.
But they're in those huge tall boys.
Crazy, though.
But at least you're getting a lot for your dollar. And I'm not saying that's right.
Right.
I'm just saying in general, that's a a lot of volume for what you're getting. Now it's 5%, but still.
Is it?
What the hell did I have?
Something. Well, maybe last 4 to 8. Yeah.
You get they have the 19-ounce cans.
Yeah, the 19.6s. Yeah. It was. You get a lot of volume, but the ones at UBS, I was shaking my head that last year, going, I would never buy a beer here. So now what we've done.
Oh, you pregame.
We pregame. Obviously, we go over to Croxley's in Franklin Square. We sit and drink there. We get an Uber back, and we drink back there. And at least you tied one on, and you're good to go for the night. But when I went in there with the family on Monday night, prior to going with the boys on Saturday night, Monday night I scoped everything out. I'm like, oh, I know the boys are coming. We got to find out the good spots. I remember spending $62 on 3 beers in the basement bar at UBS, and I go, it physically hurt. Well, even though it wasn't like fantastic, it was good beer, but it wasn't fantastic. It was fine. But that much money for 3 beers, and it wasn't like you're not getting a liter.
Nope.
You're getting a 16-ounce beer. And I said, never again, never again. So now this time around, I checked it out. They have 16-ounce beers. Anything on draft is $9.99.
Oh, okay.
So that was a better price fix. That I can handle. I can handle $10. Going back to Citi Field, it's relative to that in regards to what they offer. I do always get the bigger guys, but, they have the big wave, and I love a good big wave in the summer. And in the end, they have to find out their market. People that go to Islanders games, they're not the rich and famous.
No.
To $27 for a beer, 16-ounce beer is ridiculous.
Bottom line is they have to look at their numbers. They're not going to sell that many beers at that.
No, I'm sure dummies like me bought a round and didn't buy another one.
You're done.
Buy me a $10, and I'll keep buying them all night. $10 is fine with me. I can do that all night. Like Captain America, I can do this all day.
Every time we've gone to UBS, at least 3 beers in the car.
Yeah.
We sit out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Have a few beers with the wife. We sit there. We
pregame.
Yeah. Put the music on.
Sitting there in the Emerald parking lot, waiting for the shuttle. Pound some beers.
We sit in the gold.
Oh well, fancy mother.
Gold and silver.
So we actually got the garage on Monday night.
Oh.
And you're not allowed to tailgate at the garage at all.
No.
They have a guy driving around. You're not even allowed to be sitting behind your car. You can be in your car and drinking, and no one would know, but you can't do anything else. Out in Emerald, it's like the Wild West. But it's cold, but it's the Wild West. You can do whatever you want. No one gives a shit out there, that's for sure. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the prices speak to the people. You guys have to see that, when you're selling beer, and let's say you do get a contract with UBS, you're not going to sell beer if it's over $20 a pint, no matter who you are. I don't care who you are.
It's not that kind of venue.
No. It's a concert venue. It's the blue-collar workers that are going there to a hockey game or going to see.
And they're already spending money for the tickets. They're already spending money to get there to park and everything else.
It was $60 a ticket, and I had good seats, but not great seats.
I heard it's pretty well laid out, too, as far as viewing and so forth.
Well, that's it. And just going back to kind of the experience, your entry, the Heineken porch is beautiful. You can stand there right on, like, 20 rows behind the ice and stand and watch the whole game. You have the second level by the organ player up there that you can see the whole thing from behind the goal. There's some good viewing spots. And for an indoor facility, that's what you need. It kind of remind me of the Garden. The Garden had done a better job at kind of opening up their walkways and doing things.
That's Citi Field, too.
Yeah. I mean, that's all open.
We used to spend $12 a ticket and never see our seats.
Yeah.
You just walk down and stand by the field and just watch the game. Go get
sit out in the outfield.
Sit out in the outfield,
and sit right by the Big Apple Brews.
You can't do that at Yankee Stadium.
Nope.
No, now Citi Field, you go way out back, go to Shake Shack, hang out, get some beers.
Big Apple Brews, I'm telling you, Big Apple Brews is my spot. That's where I go right away. And then there's another cart on the second level that sells, I can't think of it, not Industrial Arts. What's the other one? LIC.
Oh, okay.
LIC. They sell LIC, and Ebbs now, obviously.
I'm sorry, I hang out in the Piazza Club. Sorry.
You fancy son of a bitch. Well, you were in the dugout with Buck Showalter last year.
I was in the dugout. And actually, I literally was in the dugout when my buddy Steve took me in, shagged flies out in the outfield, and
that's fun.
And hit batting practice.
Did you catch?
Yeah. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
And that's what I like about some of these
stadiums. I was
on
the bullpen phone.
They've done a better job, not always in regards to the experience, but also in regards to understanding the average person and what they're doing to get there and what they're doing to patronize your team, the fandom, and, of course, the consumers and the vendors. And to sell beer at a major venue nowadays.
It's a really good point to see
tough.
the past 10 years, but to see all the craft. I like this. It's nice to see the local craft beers at the local venues.
Yeah.
I mean, rather than all these other big name companies, I mean, who, obviously, we know it goes on distributors. They get their foot in the door. But, Oyster Bay's got a good name.
Yeah.
Montauk, obviously, they have their big name out there. And McKillier, they had a run. It's, it's a little unfortunate.
Sad to see them leave. I really like their beers.
Yeah. No, it's and look, it goes on to a level when you start talking distribution, because we self-distribute. We have our own trucks. You're at kind of a disadvantage when you have that big player in your, in the restaurant owner's, pocket, so to speak, because draft lines and all that.
There were
stuff.
several. I remember I'd walk into a place and they're like, "Oh, who are you distributed by?" "Oh, no, we're self-distributed."
Yeah.
"Oh, we don't deal with guys."
Draft lines.
Oh, get the fuck out!
Draft lines are spoken for.
Yeah, they would tell you, "Look, we only want to cut one check." So they would go with one distributor and pick from their portfolio, and that'd be it.
Yeah, illegal.
Yeah,
it's illegal.
Well, bro, how many places have you seen that? Hey, how do you have tap lines and the taps say Blue Point on them? Well, because they were put in for free, and as long as they're there,
X amount of taps on. That's the way it works out.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Blue Point, and all the boys work really, really hard to get where they're at, but. Look, hey, listen, business is business at the end of the day. You guys are local. We're local. We try to, we try to push and try to, like I said, incoming tide rises all ships. Yeah. Without a question. And it's a grind. It is definitely a grind on the street. It's a grind in the taste rooms. It's a grind everywhere. We're all working hard.
So let's get into a little bit about what you guys are going to be having coming up. We know that the music's going to be on point. You guys are musicians. What do you play?
I play drums, but I grew up, so I was like 2 or 3 years old, or 4 years old. I think my father had a grand piano in the house, a baby grand B. I can't remember, Steinway.
Okay,
Ivory keys. Sat down and started playing Mozart and started playing Bach and started playing Beethoven. My parents were like,
"You're release all
that's
day." That's
really pretty much not what like a 4-year-old should do.
Yeah.
So the inevitable childhood curse, piano lessons. I remember this old English teacher, piano teacher, kind of like what the old back in the day was the wooden ruler. You're not practicing your scales. You're guessing. You're not reading. And
6th or 8th grade, I took piano lessons.
Yes, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. Played some string instruments, and I think at 14 or 15 years old, somebody had a drum set around the corner that was for sale. So this is pretty cool. So got into that and played in several bands over the years, and really enjoyed music, even with the just the composition from becoming starting as a pianist and then getting into string instruments and then the drums. I think it helps the creativity with the beers. It helps the creativity with recipes. It helps with that kind of thing. It opens up your mind a little bit more.
Well, in general, just the creative side of your mind works differently than what some of the mechanical or scientific sides do, and
exactly
keeps you in the loop of things with other people with like mind, likes. That's a way to say it.
Exactly.
Similar interests is a better way than saying likes.
There you go, instead of likes.
likes. So you play drums.
Mm-hmm.
You have a kit at home?
I have 2.
Oh, shit. What are your kits?
I have a Yamaha recording series, a Pearl. It's a maple shell.
Okay.
I like the Yamaha better.
You got the 20-inch kick?
22-inch.
22? Okay, we got the big boy. Playing those deep kits.
The Pearl's 24.
Oh. It's almost got a Tommy Lee.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's almost
doing some
John
hair
Bonham.
metal in the background.
Almost John Bonham.
And you said you're the other guy. I forget.
Dan.
Dan.
My
Sorry.
brother, yeah.
Oh yeah, Dan. So I'm trying to do.
He's a bass player.
Bass player.
Yeah.
Okay. What's his axe looking like?
I don't know. We haven't played in so long. I don't even know.
You guys should get back into it and just
keep
play some
talking about
shows at the fucking brewery.
Yeah, we talked about just doing like
got a
Sunday
venue
night
now
jam or whatever. Yeah, I got young kids and I got the.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like if I opened a brewery, it'd be just for the venue to play freaking shows.
And you'd be out of business in about 2
would.
weeks.
There you go.
I teach audio production. I could produce a good show, even if I played poorly. I'd put some reverb on there. You wouldn't hear all my mistakes.
There
that's
you
for
go.
sure.
There you go.
But I would know some really cool 16-year-olds that can fucking shred, dude. I got some kids in my class that are
Makes
really
you sick,
good.
doesn't it?
It does. It makes me so pissed off. I down myself every day when I hear this. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, how come I never could learn that? I play power chords like a punk rock kid, like a freaking shitty garage band. And I do play drums. I do practice that
3-chord
weekly.
wonder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just all power chords and octaves, and that's it for like a moron. But at least, I keep the dream alive. I keep that dream alive in the back of my head. One day, you never know. So you guys, obviously, being the music-centric, it flows throughout your beers. It flows throughout your labels. It's present in the tasting room. What do you guys have planned moving for the future in any regard, whether it be through the music, whether it be through expansion in the brew house or anything else you have planned festival-wise? What's the big picture here?
Definitely all the above. You just have to be cautious, and Steve could probably attest to the same thing. You want to grow, but you want to go smart.
Yeah.
I mean, growing exponentially and getting out of control, and when you have 40, 50, 60, 80 employees, then you get into the January doldrums and the February doldrums, and then you get to a situation where all of a sudden taxes are due and all this stuff is, coming into play. We're trying to grow in a direction where we know we can make money, and we're trying to go in a direction where we know we can maintain our good quality product and maintain our staff where, it's not so out of control and the staff starts leaving and staff starts, turning on you. It's really important to me to have a good work culture and, offer, incentives for the key employees. Make sure the key employees are going to stay and help you grow the brand. That's kind of important.
And that's one of the things, like you mentioned, the people that you have on, those are people who have been around for a while now.
Yes, correct.
And they've stuck with you. So obviously you're doing something right.
We're trying, yes.
To keep everybody around. Post-COVID, even pre-COVID, those people have stuck with you. It's the loyalty. It really is.
No doubt about it. And it's not easy to find good help. I mean, talk to anybody, any line of work. Yeah. And we see a lot of people in a lot of different businesses.
Especially nowadays, and I know as we get older, I say it, all these kids. I know my parents said it when I was a kid, and we turned out fine. But at the same time, it's getting worse. It sure is to find good, skilled labor. Yeah. It's hard to find those people that want to work, have work ethic, and want to grow.
That's the key. Work ethic.
Work ethic, right. Show up on time, do your job, have fun, be good, and enjoy what you do. As a high school teacher, as a career and technical education teacher, that's like my main points. Being able to say, listen, you want to wake up and want to go to work.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do that,
or at least not hate what you do.
Right, but have some passion in one part of it that makes it worthwhile to jump out of bed and say, I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a lot of fun today.
Yeah.
Regardless, and guess what? I get paid to do what I love.
Yeah, something, the old adage is, find what you like to do, figure out a way to make a living, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So. And people have been saying that for forever, but yet that is exactly what the mindset should be.
No doubt.
Of the current kind of up-and-coming career-based population. And you found it. You found your good core people that are in your space. What about the brew house? Do you have any big plans? You going with a cool ship tomorrow? What are you doing?
Some photos.
Some photos. Jesus.
We have a lot of plans. You just have to stay tuned. I mean, like I said, we're going to release some limited releases, sours, bourbon aged beers. Definitely, I made a bourbon aged beer as a home brewer in one of LA Vodka's.
Barrel aged or just?
It was barrel aged. It was a bourbon ale that I kind of put together with the proper grains that had the right flavors. But we let it sit for 3 months, and right before my kids were born, actually in 2014.
I'm never going to enjoy a day
twins,
again.
by the way.
I need to have bourbon barrel aged stout. Was it stout?
No, it was just a bourbon aged. It was a bourbon style beer that we just took some grains that had the kind of the oaky flavor to it, and then put it into one of those barrels, and it came out really good, like about 9.5%.
Wee.
Yep.
Sit back, kids. Roller coaster's about to begin.
Click, 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 click. That was a fun beer, and I definitely want to try to replicate that.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
So we have all kinds of plans.
Maybe even a barrel program, because you have the space now to store some barrels. So
you don't want to sit on beer. So
no. But I mean, for your own tasting room in general, that'd be a nice thing to have.
No doubt about
it.
Yeah, it's all in the works. Correct.
Because you have, like you said, 8 taps coming in, possibly expanding your tap list, and to be able to have some variations and variants of other beers, that'd be a great idea for sure.
That's all in the works.
So big events. What do you have planned coming up in the next few months? Obviously, we're waiting for the turn of the seasons here.
Yeah, no. So we have the jam band on the 18th. We also
that's a big one. Yeah,
that's a big one. We also have I don't have the date in front of me, but we have a Caribbean dinner.
Oh, okay.
A beach party. That's with where the heck is that? It's in. Are you on my Instagram?
Yes.
Was that the one with Spinderella?
Spinderella, correct.
Yeah, correct. Thank you.
That's coming up.
I was clicking into it. I'm like,
get the down on my phone.
You got to me before I could. I mean, that's a big one. And to have events here in the off season is really going to help and draw. And obviously with your catered events and stuff like that. So to have those things available to the public and being, in the off season, that's going to drive business as well. Mm-hmm. Going into those summer, let's say late spring, early summer months, how do you prepare for something like that? You're going to get droves of people, your increase goes up. Do you, obviously more staff, more, what are the things you have to think about?
Make sure you have enough staff, make sure you have enough Well, we serve in plastic cups. We always started from the beginning. The reason we kept the plastic cups is because we have a lot of kids and a lot of pets, and we have concrete floors in the tasting room.
Yeah.
And we've had it happen once or twice where the glass actually breaks, and you just can't pick it all up.
No.
Yeah.
You can't never get it all up. So we just, unfortunately, during the weekends, it's plastic cups. So you don't want to run out of plastic cups.
No, I don't blame you.
Staff is very, very important. Don't want to run out of beer. So you got to forecast how much beer you got to have in the tanks to allocate that for the tasting room. There is a lot of planning involved.
Yeah.
I remember a brewery not too far away from us. They've done very, very well for themselves. They came in, they opened after we did, and they said, "We have a budget. We don't know if we can even open." They opened their first week and they sold out of like 35 kegs of beer.
Yeah.
That's a big jump, and they've never looked back. They've been, I don't
opening
like that much, but they definitely hit
grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah,
that's the easy way to think about it.
I'd say they're more than maintaining.
Yeah.
No, it's just planning, and staying on top of what we just mentioned, look, make sure you make good beer. That's really, really important. Don't release a beer that's crap, because that sticks out a lot.
Dump it if you have to. I know it sucks, but dump it if you have to.
Haven't had to do it yet. Knock wood.
Yeah, good. Well, thank God. Pete, I want to give you an opportunity to give everyone the big plug. Tell us where people can get in touch with you, where people can find you, give us some tasting room hours, all that information.
Definitely. Tasting rooms open from 3 to 7 on Wednesday, 3 to 7 Thursday, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 12 to 8, Sunday 12 to 5. You can reach us on Instagram, Twin Fort Beer Instagram. Its website is twinfortbeer.com. Always hit us up on an email, info@twinfortbeer.com. Call the number 631-209-4233. And come visit. We're 807 Rainer Avenue, Riverhead, New York.
Yeah. Great facility, great space, a little outdoors, a little indoors, a little big brewing area to hang out and look at, big parking lot, lots of things going on. Any big plans for like a festival or something like that? You want to do?
We're talking about it. Same thing.
A little Cast Fest or something.
We're talking about
small,
doing something like that.
Keep the East End people happy.
No doubt about
and
it.
all the breweries there, a little get together.
Got to stay tuned.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So check them out right on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and keep up. Pete, really appreciate you being in studio tonight. Thanks for the drive out. Been a great time and a lot of great info. I mean, fantastic beer, of course. One of the things that stood out to me, obviously, is your core beers between Crescendo and Chromatic, and the traditional style, and it felt good from the first day I've had it. So
appreciate it. Thank you.
Really appreciate it, and keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you, guys.
This is the Word Mike, Pete, and Steve, govsradio.com. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Facebook and Instagram for just a little bit, and, of course, YouTube. The podcast version will be out on all of our major platforms, and we'll have some great shows coming up this year in 2023, just like we had tonight. And this is the Word Mike, Pete, and Steve, govsradio.com. Steven, something before we get out of here.
Never do dry January.
Oh, God. Has it hurt?
Don't fucking do it.
Don't do it.
Just sitting here with all the beers sitting in front of you.
That's right. Yeah. Bro.
Yeah. We're making up for you.
Yeah. Well, this merch will be on sale at our merch.
Grab on a shirt, Steve.
Yeah. This is one of a kind
again,
for now.
I got to put a bullseye on it.
Again, it's the backing of all my friends.
Yeah.
Making sure I do the right thing.
There you go.
Well, I don't know if it was the right thing, but it was a thing for you that you thought was
Never
right.
do it again.
Yeah. I really appreciate for everyone for listening tonight. As the Word Mike, Pete, and Steve, join us again in 2 weeks. And don't forget to have your pets spayed or neutered.
There you go.
We out.
Oh.
Well, that's two of your life that you'll never get back.
Are you kidding me? Please hang up and try again.
I got a piece.
Wort on Govs Radio. I hope you're drunk enough.